A visa
strength.
is not a right.
A visa to be in this country. I have a media visa. I don't have a visa. You have to earn the right to be an American. You have to earn the right to be in this country, and legal migrants to this country earn that right.
Which includes respect, by the way, for the country that has opened its doors to you.
For the country
and
to work hard.
if you're going to come in here and disrespect everything.
Get out. Be gone.
Welcome to Going Rogue with Lara Logan. My guest this week is an absolutely amazingly, fantastically funny, wonderful woman who I have been wanting to meet for a very long time. She is the formidable Katie Hopkins, who has come all the way over from across the pond, dear. From London, from the United Kingdom, although I'm not sure if it's the United Kingdom that we've always known. And Katie has, a wonderful show that I am a big fan of. It's called Batshit Bonkers Britain, in which you do a lot of satire. And like all those who do satire, you have a sharp eye on the news and on the politics of the day. And you have been outspoken on everything, on what is happening in the UK. You're good friends with Tommy Robinson. You were a friend of Charlie Kirk. And at the Unite the Kingdom rally. You were one of the headline speakers there just recently. But your career is gone for a very long time. I mean, because you're so old, Katie. It's been years and years. And no, you're not, I'm older than you.
Thank you so much, Lara. Yeah, I've been going and going and
going. I know.
And people are like, is she still here? Oh my God.
Will she ever shut up?
Will she ever shut up? Will she ever just die? And then people hope, like, if they see my name trending, they're like, she's dead finally. And then they realize, no, she's still living. She just gets more haggard by the day.
Kate,
yeah.
You know why I really wanted to meet you?
Just so you look young?
Yes, no? That was why.
Yeah.
But you're thinner
to show
than
off
me,
your
which,
boobs?
which makes me a little uncomfortable. I'm a little resentful.
But skinny birds don't have boobs, so you have to give and take.
It depends.
You can get them added. Yeah.
Yes, afterwards.
Yeah.
Although there are some naturally.
Some, but only the very, very poshest women.
The poshest ones.
Yeah. So if you're true old money, typically you're very, very skinny, but with massive boobs. I do not know how that happened, but clearly it's just a genetically it's a genetic blessing. Exactly.
It's not fair.
It's not fair at all.
But then life isn't fair.
Life isn't fair, and the faster you realise that, really, the better off you are.
So my mother would start telling us that in the crib.
I think that's so powerful as a mother to go, life's not fair. You're at the bottom of the pond. Yes. Don't even bother growing up. I don't know, is that how American mums speak? I guess.
Well, she was South African.
Oh, right.
Yes, South African, Sicilian, Irish. But she would just say, because kids are always like, but mommy, it's not fair. And she'd be like, life isn't fair. The sooner you figure that out, the better off you'll be.
Strong South African women, always, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's great to really just sort of start making your kids miserable very young. Your mother did a great job.
She did. We were very loved, though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes, very loved. Beaten ruthlessly.
Yes, with a strong backhand.
Wooden spoon.
Yes. I remember my mother giving my sister a quick bat with the hairbrush.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not unlike your hairbrush. My mother's hairbrush flew apart, and she shouted at my sister, "Now look what you've made me do."
Yes.
Yeah. But we grew up in that era of getting a sharp backhand.
I do recall a packet of frozen bacon flying across the kitchen, straight from the freezer to my sister's head.
That's what made us who we are.
That's right.
That's what made us into
Forged
this.
in the fires of domestic violence.
That's a beautiful love story, isn't it?
I know, yeah. So much in common.
Damaged
women. We have
women.
so much in common.
We do.
Well, the real reason I wanted you here is that in this very difficult moment worldwide, I think where a lot of people, especially with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it's sort of a breaking point where, people have been beaten down and beaten up for having an opinion and for not falling in line with the great global cult and the powers that be, with one scam after another. And you have really emerged as one of the few people who's been consistent and who's been loud, and you've taken a lot of hits, but you're unbowed and really speaking up. And it's a very powerful thing because, you know, you are funny, but you're also very smart and also very beautiful, and you're very brave. And that's an amazing thing. If you're feeling sluggish or bloated or just not at your best, it might be time to pay attention to your liver health. Your liver is one of the most vital organs in your body, playing a key role in detoxification, digestion, and energy production. But every day, factors like processed foods, environmental toxins, and stress can overburden your liver, leaving it clogged and unable to function at its peak. A clogged liver can lead to fatigue, poor digestion, weight gain, and even skin issues. Ignoring these signs can prevent you from feeling your healthiest and most vibrant self. That's where Ultra Liver comes in, a powerful supplement designed to support and cleanse your liver, formulated by Dr. Josh, a practicing physician with over 25 years of medical expertise. Ultra Liver acts like a deep cleanse for your entire body, helping to flush out toxins, boost energy, and restore optimal liver function. With over 500,000 bottles sold and thousands of 5-star reviews from satisfied customers, Ultra Liver is trusted by many to deliver real results. This isn't just another supplement. Dr. Josh has carefully crafted Ultra Liver to ensure it effectively supports liver health and promotes overall wellness. Ready to unclog your liver, boost your energy, and feel like your best self? Visit tryultraliver.com/Lara to order Ultra Liver today. And here's some great news. For a limited time, Dr. Josh is offering up to 50% off Ultra Liver through our exclusive link. You can find it below this video in the description box. Don't miss out. Click the link now to take control of your liver health and start feeling revitalized.
You're too kind. But I should say, really, it's kind of you to say all those nice things, but for the longest time, 20 years, I guess, in the media, I was the most hated. So, the label was the most hated woman in Britain, or forgive me for those who don't like cuss words, but the biggest bitch in Britain was the title the Daily Mail would use. And
a horrible paper, by the way.
Yeah.
Horrible paper, pretending to be conservative when they're really not.
Really not at all now. Yeah. And just, I guess, always known for being, I hate her. And I guess people never really knew why they hated me, but they just knew they hated me because I was in the media. The media told them to hate me. I would say very blunt things. I would be unapologetic. Oh, yes, you're
divisive and racist. And
well, back then as well it was, so I would be on morning TV a lot of the time, and I would maybe, and I would never ham it up. I was never controversial. It really, that word just drives me crazy when people say it's the controversial Katie Hopkins. Well, I'm not. You just disagree with me. Fine. No. So they would bring on maybe on this morning TV, and you know what this morning TV is watched by? It's watched by people that don't have a job, don't go out very much, and sit around in their pajamas. So they're not
190 years old.
Oh, come on, exactly. And so they would bring on maybe a really fat person, and I would just say, I wouldn't employ you because you're fat and you look lazy. and I would mean that, in a kind way, I would mean that. It's just honest. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then, of course, so very easy then and quick to get that label, most hated.
That you're very offensive.
You're offensive, whereas...
And mean.
But in fact, the reason that those clips were watched more than any other clips ever in the history of the show is they're things that people thought on the inside but couldn't say.
Yes, they were honest.
Yes, and then it went into politics, and then suddenly now a really strange turn of events after 20 years of being the most hated, the monster, vilified. Suddenly people realise I've been authentic to myself, true to myself, and things that I was saying 10, 15 years ago are now quite abundantly and obviously clearly happening. And so I've now become kind of quite well liked, which is a very odd thing in my country and a curious thing.
Well, and your country is something I definitely want to talk about. But before we get into that, maybe we can just help people understand your career, because you do stand-up comedy, and you were on The Apprentice. You were also on, what was it, one of those other shows?
I mean, it's wild. So, well, it goes back. So it starts with the military. So I went from university to the Intelligence Corps, through the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst.
I knew you were
passed out of there. Yeah. I signed up to serve for 35 years. And I told them I didn't want a family. I wouldn't have kids. I'd be married to the military. And I would be their first female general. And I was very clear that that's what I would do.
And you were how old when you said that?
20. Yeah.
Fabulous.
And I was certain that that's what I'd do. And I passed out of the academy, one of 8 girls out of 32 that started, out of 450 boys. And I believed I would be able to prove that I was kind of bigger than things. So I also had this weird condition going on, maybe epilepsy, seizures sometimes, that I was hiding. And eventually that came out, and I had to leave the military that I loved and that I swore my life to. And so that set me off on a different tangent. But I can understand now, with the benefit of hindsight, that a epileptic with seizures and a semi-automatic weapon is probably not in the best interest of the country's security.
Yes, one could perhaps see how that might not end well for the armed forces.
And then if we sort of leap forward...
And that was just want to point out that when you say the academy, you're referring to Sandhurst.
Sandhurst, the military
academy. Which is like the West Point of...
It's like the West Point, just a bit
UK.
Tougher.
Just a bit tougher, of course. Oh, yes. Yes. I might remind you, you're in Texas now.
I know.
Where roughly 70% of the entire United States military is either housed or comes from.
Yeah, well, they'll know I'm being naughty. But yeah, Sandhurst does go up against West Point in a competition each year that Sandhurst usually wins. But no.
So that's, you're glossing over that, but that's quite something there weren't not that many women, especially at that time.
And it's brutal. Sandhurst, as West Point is, as it should be, it is a brutal training ground that teaches you to be able to endure, which I think has been, I'm very grateful to it.
Wow.
And to be able to actually be called many things, typically by very, very large men from Wales, Academy Sergeant Major, just shouting about you, across the parade square in front of everybody, just crucifying you.
Yeah.
It does set you up to be ready for stuff.
Well, you figure out who you are.
You're pretty fast. And also you figure out you don't stuff up, because if you stuff up, you take your whole platoon down with you.
Yes.
You figure out that if someone else stuffs up, it's your problem because they take you down with them. And that you figure out that but through no fault of your own, you may receive some punishment just because the Academy Sergeant Major took a dislike to the way you walked down the corridor. You learn fast.
Yes.
You need to step it up. Yeah.
And it's so important, because you look at today and they say to you, something bad happens to you. You need to collapse, be a victim.
Yeah,
come apart, get a pill, see a therapist.
I can't bear it.
It's
and teaching young people to compete on weakness. I cannot tolerate it. I cannot tolerate when people come up even in a restaurant and say,
is there any allergies? Is there any allergies we should be aware of? Any intolerances we should be aware of?
Oh, no, because I'm not a twat. Get away. Get away. I hear people, I've got gluten-free, I'm lactose intolerant. I've got a nut allergy. Oh, go off, have an anaphylactic shock, get out of my face.
Take an EpiPen.
Just go.
Everywhere you go.
Don't go out, stay home. Don't eat a nut. Don't come near me. If someone on my flight, if I hear we're not serving nuts today because Linda on seat 23C has got a nut allergy, nothing gets me over to that seat faster and to see Linda eye to eye than finding out Linda has got a nut allergy. I mean, it's fine, she's got a nut allergy, but why did she feel the need to tell the whole plane? And then I go down to 23C to look at Linda with her nut allergy, and I realise Linda's not allergic to any other major food group, is she? The size of the bint. But you see competitive weakness. Maybe salad. And it's that... Luke's lost his shit.
That's Luke Coffey. There's lots of laughing from the peanut gallery over there.
So to competitive weakness, I cannot stand.
Yes.
And I encourage young people. You've got a condition. I understand, right? We've all got
Yes, of
something
course.
going on in our lives, haven't we? But you just keep that little condition to yourself and you be better than that condition, because I certainly don't need or want to hear about it. I don't care if your
Figure
eyes
it
are too
out.
closed. Yeah, I don't care if
Yeah.
you've got ADHD.
And
I
it's
don't
not
care.
that you don't care. It's not that you don't have empathy
No,
or
of course I
feeling
do. I'm
for
missing
them.
half my head
Yeah.
due to my surgery. It's like, I get it.
Yeah.
You get it. We all
Yeah.
get it. But I don't need to know about it. I just want to know what's interesting
Don't
about
let it define you.
No, your condition is not that interesting to me.
No. And you reminded me about something I've never talked about publicly.
Oh, good.
It's when I was at 60 Minutes and I was a young correspondent, one of the older female correspondents, she complained. Guess why?
Because
She,
you violated her something.
yes, her perfume allergy.
You were setting it off.
Yes.
Because
she was
you wore
allergic
too
to
much-
perfume, and when she would go into the booth to track her stories after me,
She would be,
yes, yes.
did you go in and just spray extra on?
Well, I might have.
You know what I would have done?
I might have.
I would have got my Joe Malone rose body lotion, because that
Yeah.
stuff stinks. I love it. It's the honkiest thing. You literally smell like I have it on now on purpose. And as you get warmer, it puts more smell out.
Yes.
I would have just rubbed myself all over it, and then I would have just gone and done this on her chair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would have been like... So that next time she was on that chair, she just slid off with the damn perfume and had to passed out on the floor, smelling of roses. There, smell that. That's my ass. Roses. You know, because these people need to be taught.
Well, she literally, my agent at the time, of course, they don't call me.
No,
Right?
no, not direct.
They
No
call
one
my
has-
agent.
Yeah, no one says to you, "Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, you are making me have a seizure."
Oh, no.
You have to go through 8 other people.
She goes to the executive producer. He calls he
Just
has to call
jealous
the
of
agent.
you.
Then my agent has to call me, and she says, "You're not allowed to wear perfume to work anymore."
These dry old women, they shouldn't be tolerated. She probably would have kept cats, but they probably all left home because she was such a syphilitic old bag. That's what they're like. I had a lady, I'd say lady. I mean, she wasn't a lady. God knows what she was. But, I think she needed a hazmat suit to walk anywhere near her. She was called Sheila. She's still alive. I don't know why I'm giving her past tense. Sheila Fogarty. And I used to have to, at the radio station for my show, we used to sometimes have to hand over. And you know how that is. You politely come in, you have a polite conversation, even if you hate each other, and you hand across live. Like that's how it's supposed to work. She wouldn't even come in to hand over because she hated me so much.
Oh, wow.
So she would go into a little tiny booth that she could barely fit her fat ass in to hand over. And that's what we come up against. If you have a personality and you're somewhat fun to be around, some women cannot stand it. They cannot stand it.
No, and if you're half their age, that's another war crime. And, if you happen to be smart, maybe you work hard, maybe you're actually good at your job, well, that's unforgivable.
Yeah, it is unforgivable.
You have to be broken down any way they can.
So I left the military, or rather I was told I was leaving. And eventually I popped up again in another guise. So I went over to Manhattan to work in a big consulting firm there that was staffed purely with ex-military men.
Was that the Met?
No, this was
Before the Met?
before. So it was like a McKinsey consulting firm.
Oh.
It was all ex-Marines and then me. So it was perfect because it was a military way of operating,
Yes.
a military parlance. What we were teaching was basically mission command, or the ability to delegate with authority and simplicity and, rip out the corporate nonsense and apply military principles into FTSE 100 companies. And so I lived in Manhattan for 5 years in the East Village. And I came out of the East Village in Manhattan and I was still straight. Thank you very much. But
Quite an achievement.
I know. I mean, I'm a woman, so it's different, because if I was a bloke, I would definitely be gay, right? But that's the rule. You can't live in the East Village in Manhattan unless you're gay. But in Manhattan, I watched on TV this thing, The Apprentice, with this great guy with flame red hair, Donald J. And I thought, wow, that's quite a show. And the apprentices, the candidates, they were kind of smart. And like the winner of the US Apprentice, he got to build I don't know, some huge tower block on the river. Like he was in charge. And it was like, that's a good, credible program.
Yeah.
And when I went back to the UK, this 5 years I was in Manhattan, came back to the UK, I applied to be on the British version
of The Apprentice. And you made it. Aging is a fact of life, and with it often comes joint pain that can slow you down. You've likely tried countless supplements or creams that promise relief but fall short. There's one ingredient that's been trusted for centuries: turmeric. The problem? Standard turmeric, like the kind in your kitchen or basic capsules, is poorly absorbed by your body, making it ineffective for serious joint pain. That's where Golden Revive Plus stands out. Formulated by renowned pain specialist Dr. Josh Levitt, it also uses BCM95 curcumin, a turmeric extract that's absorbed 200 times better than regular turmeric. And it doesn't stop there. Golden Revive Plus combines this powerful extract with clinically backed ingredients like boswellia to combat inflammation, magnesium to relax tight muscles, and bromelain to reduce joint stiffness. This isn't just another supplement. It's a complete joint restoration system designed to rebuild cartilage, ease pain, and restore smooth, comfortable movement. With Golden Revive Plus, you can say goodbye to morning stiffness and hesitation with everyday activities, and hello to moving freely and confidently again. Ready to experience pain-free movement? Visit goldenrevive.com/Lara to learn more, or click the link in the description box below. Don't let joint pain hold you back. Try Golden Revive Plus today and rediscover the joy of moving with ease.
Oh, yeah, but I thought it would be Donald J. Trump. And not, I mean, I know it wasn't him, but I thought it would be a version of.
Yes.
And then I thought it would be like a version of other credible candidates. And I thought there would be a job. And instead, Donald J. Trump was replaced by a small person called, well, then Sir Alan, now Lord Sugar. And honestly, he's this high. And if you know me, or people that know me know, I don't believe in short people. So I don't think there should be a thing that is a short person.
Not even Napoleon.
Well, no, but I don't even understand how short people are here. Like, what are they doing? And how did they come to pass? And who did that? Because it sits with women when you think about it. I mean, you have this issue with your dogs, just like reproducing all over the place. But who did that? Who saw a short guy and thought, that's a great idea? That is a great gene pool right there. I'm going to dive on in there. Don't do that. Don't reproduce with other short things. We have to think about survival at a basic level of humanity. Short people aren't designed to survive anything. One earthquake, boom, down they go, right? Small sinkhole, they're gone. So I don't agree with short people. I never, ever have. And I call them nipple height. Can I say nipples?
Yes,
we can talk about nipples.
You can say whatever you want.
Can I?
You can.
And the snorting man in the corner,
is he? Two of them now.
Do they both come with the show?
There are two. They come with the show.
They just snort through it.
Not usually.
But today they're having...
In your honour.
In my honour, they're just snorting their way through
the show. But neither of them are short.
Well, and if they were, then they could leave.
They could.
See, these are the choices afforded to short people. I can even help them hold the door handle. You know, maybe get them a little stippy step. Just go away from me. So that is choice right there, isn't it?
Choice.
Americans are about freedom of choice.
Yes.
If you're short, go away from me.
Yes.
That's a choice you need to make.
So I imagine this was a grave disappointment.
A grave disappointment. And I will just say for maybe your listeners at home or viewers that don't do much TV work, in order to make him look taller, let me just, if we were saying that this was the camera, they would put him literally, I won't talk while I do this because it will mess up sound, but they would put him literally here, and then they would put us, the apprentices, like 8 miles in that direction so that he looked really big compared to us because he was so tiny. He was so tiny. And all nipple height people are wrong, like Sadiq Khan, who I have a different name for.
The Mayor of London?
Yes, that sounds like runt, but I won't say it here because that is a very naughty word in America. But Sadiq Khan, he's this high, nipple height.
Yes.
Dr. Fauci.
Is that like Mandani in New York? Is he also that high?
He's that high. He is a pocket man.
Yes.
A pocket person.
A pocket person. Fauci. He's
pocket
another pocket person. Mass murderer.
Mass murderer, pocket
and
person.
And a pocket person.
So this is proving my theory to be absolutely correct. And again, I say to women, don't sleep with short men. Think of the future.
Not even Bonnie Blue.
Oh, God. Rancid. We'll get there.
Rancid.
So
Yes.
I go to The Apprentice, and of course I end up being selected to be on the show, and then I'm on the show. And of course all the other candidates are complete morons without a single brain cell between them. And you're set up to fail, of course, because I understand that's the comedy of the programme. And then I end up, so I thought maybe I would get near the middle, then I'd leave, people would be like, oh, she was quite fun and she was, quite smart or whatever. And instead I got all the way to the end of the whole damn programme because I was good value, because I would say to the camera precisely what I thought about people.
Yes.
And
that made good TV.
Made great. I didn't realise, I thought everybody was doing it, but it was just me.
That's the problem about telling the truth.
Right. But I assumed everybody but they weren't. It was just me.
Do you remember that movie with Will Ferrell when he's streaking?
Yes.
And his wife pulls up in the car and she says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm streaking, honey. Everybody's doing it." And she looks behind him and there's nobody. That was you.
That was me. I genuinely believe that I was sitting there so there was another candidate that wore short skirts all the time. And I was like, oh, she would always be covering her ass. It's a shame her clothes don't do such a good job that she does with her gob. Right. So I was giving it all this line. And I saw all the crew going, but I just assumed everyone, but it wasn't. It was just me. And that's what got me the title Biggest Bitch to start with. And then I got to the very end of the damn thing and I'm sat there and this little tiny midget pocket person, Lord Sugar, goes, well, and he's on a booster seat. Can I just say this as well? So we're at the boardroom. You have that in them. Yeah. His chair in the boardroom, not a word of a lie, is pumped up so high, so it makes him look like he's a tall guy, that his little tiny midget legs aren't touching the floor. So I used to try and get behind there and give it a kick, because then his chair would spin and he couldn't stop it because his little legs were
Wow,
up.
Lord Sugar loves you.
Now we get along. But anyway, we got to the end and he went, Hopkins, you're in. And I was like, damn, he thinks I want the job. And
and you don't.
No. So I'm sat there thinking, boop, 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 boop. And then in his ear, so the gallery have obviously seen my face because I'm sitting there thinking, oh, mate, how are you going to get out of this? This is a little awkward. And so he comes back to me and he goes, well, you've got a face like a slapped ass. What's wrong? I've just given you the best opportunity. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, Lord Sugar, there are other people in this room who are more desperate than me. And so I'm very sorry, but I have to politely withdraw. I got up and I walked out.
Wow.
And I slammed the little door behind me. And because the boardroom's not the boardroom, it's actually just a setup studio in a large warehouse, as you'll understand. All of the walls on the boardroom were swaying because I slammed the door so hard. It was a disaster and we had to retake it. Oh. Yeah, but I was the only apprentice who fired the boss. That's how I became known.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, sort of. But we had to retake the ending and they made me say,
Baby, I really feel at this point, because I have children, I should go home and take care of my kids.
But you said it.
I said it to get out of there, yeah, for sure. I wanted to be gone because the mood in the room had taken a turn at that point.
It had definitely taken a turn for the worst. Okay, so what did you do next?
Yeah, so that's when I moved into, obviously I became this kind of known for saying stuff.
Yes.
Because once it was released, which 4 months later, it came to TV.
And then reality TV came knocking again.
Whoa. I mean, well, my actual life that was going along at that point, suddenly reality TV caught up with me in real time. So my normal life just detonated because suddenly I became famous. And then then lots of TV came knocking, daytime TV. And then I guess that's how I became known and more hated, because I would go along and I would just say the truths of lives. So for example, right now kids are going back to school. In the UK, my personal belief, schoolgate mums, mums that drop their kids at school.
Yes, I've seen this one.
I detest them. I loathe them.
The coffee mums.
The coffee, oh my God. So they drop their kid. Should we go for coffee? Should we go for coffee? let's go for coffee. Then they go for coffee and they sit in the coffee shop with the other children. They're having their breastfeeding all the time because they're earth mothers. It's just nipples and coffee and milk. And then after coffee, they go back to do the school pickup. Right, that's what you're allowed to do if you're a mum, right? You just have to breed.
Oh no, they work out. Don't forget.
Oh, maybe. Oh, well, that's
They
the
always
lycra mums,
sneakers.
the gym mum.
Yeah.
Gym mum. Yeah, you coming to Pilates? You coming to Pilates? Yeah, I'm going to Pilates. You? Oh yeah, I'm going to Pilates. That mum.
Yeah.
Or there's the mum, and they all hate you because you work and you have like aspirations, and maybe you had a shower, so they hate you. Oh, she's a bitch. Doesn't even raise her own kids. A bitch. She's got a nanny. Bitch. They hate you. And then the other one is the dad mum. You know, the guy that's his wife earns more, so he does the mothering. Little tiny. Oh, I hate them all. I hate them. Bitches. The snorting gallery are off. So all I would say to mums, maybe you're a mum and you love it. Brilliant. Well done, you. But if you're a mum like me who hated the school gate mums, I feel you. They're terrible women. And I know Americans like that whole.
Well, then they
home
try to
thing.
get you, to be the class mum.
Oh, PTA mum.
Oh.
Parent Teachers Association.
yes.
Be ready for her. Shall I sign you up for the committee? Shall I? No, stick your pen up your ass. Like, would you like to bake a cake for the school bake? No, I would not.
Teacher Appreciation
Go
Day.
and buy a bloody cake. Yeah, oh, well done. You turned up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, back off.
You did your
You
job.
did the job you signed up to do, that you knew what you were doing when
That
you
you
got
got
into
paid
it,
to
and you
do.
get a whole holiday off. Oh, well done. I'm busting my balls here on childcare to avoid doing this shit. You know what I mean?
I do.
Anywho, so Schoolgate Mum's dreadful. And so I did this thing on daytime TV where I explained that this is really, and bear in mind that we're talking 10 years ago now, right? This is not
Yes.
current. This is back then. I'm going to change the name because I've just realised what's gone on this week and the name won't work and it's terrible. So I basically said that you can tell what sort of child a child is by their name. Mm-hmm. Because of the names people call their children, you're going to know. Like, for example, Destiny, right? There's always some mum eating crisps with her arm outside of her car like this with a football shirt on, like overweight mum. Destiny! She like, Destiny, stop biting him! Sorry, the dog just looked really scared. But basically that kind of mum, the sort of awful parents. And I did that on daytime TV.
Wow.
And I was actually talking about a kid that was actually at my kid's school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did
So
that one cut quite
I had
close
to
to
do
the bone?
I had to do the school run the next day.
Oh.
It didn't go so well. I got put in the school newsletter.
So you're in trouble a lot.
A lot with my views.
Yes.
And then eventually I ended up in the world of newspapers, and I was a columnist for The Sun, the most read newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was stolen from The Sun by Daily Mail back in the day when it was more kind of my kind of area. And then I became a radio presenter on LBC, the biggest radio show in the UK. And so I had a column. I was twice a week on Tucker. I was on Sean Hannity with a slot. LBC, newspaper columns. I was known. So that was probably the time I was most known. And that's when I was also talking a lot about much more serious things, like what was actually going on in the UK and what I could see.
And what year was that?
happening.
What years were those?
Yeah, so 2014. So precisely a decade ago. And I would start, I realised I was not going to be talking about the nonsense of my life that I actually find quite funny. I
Yes.
was going to be talking about things now. I had a platform and a really big voice. And I was started to talk about what I could see happening. And then I was taking myself to see it for myself, which columnists and kind of known TV personalities
That's
were not
right.
supposed to do.
No.
So now I was in the migrant camp in Calais.
Yes.
And I was in a truck being smuggled along with other people. And I was on the shores of Italy watching these NGOs Save the Children bring over all of these, half of the Mujahideen coming over onto our shores. And I was showing it on TV, on Tucker. And I was showing cities that are run down by the Democrats. And I was sleeping on Skid Row to show what it was actually like. And
Yes.
suddenly I became a real problem for
A
the
threat.
people because I was out of control. I wasn't interested in keeping my jobs because I had so many of them. And I was determined to show stuff because I'm not an idiot and I don't want to just sit and talk about nonsense as I had been.
No, and you know, that's the value of first-hand reporting,
as
right?
you know.
Just going there and being there yourself. I've been to Calais. I was arrested by the French police.
Ah, nice.
Trying to, break into a French train station to go through the tunnel.
Okay.
Yes, and I thought there was a lot of us getting arrested, and I turned around and...
It was you.
Yeah, and my cameraman who was
feelings.
really mad at me. Yes. Although I was released from prison in time to do the morning news. That's another thing we have in common is I was a GMTV correspondent for a while.
There you go. So so we have that similar path of just keeping sort of running forwards towards the thing. And so that behind you there are these photographers who are usually male or camera guys, and they're always cross.
Always.
Right, they're always so angry. Like mine were always raging. Like I remember going to Calais and they were making the illegals were making a dive for the gates because the lorries were backed up.
Because Calais is in the south of France and it's right across.
It's right across the channel.
The channel, yes.
So and when the lorries were backed up, so they would throw something to the road to back the lorries up. When the lorries were backed up, they would charge out of the migrant camp over the fence to try and get into the lorries.
That's where I got arrested, over the fence.
Right, so that happened as I was there. The tear gas was being fired by the French police. I was running towards it because, of course, we would. Yeah. And my cameraman, who was frightfully posh but very good at taking photos, he got absolutely lynched by the mob. Beaten up, pulverised, took his kit. He got about 6 months off work. But I was cross because he should have been taking photos.
Well, I thought he was slow.
Yes, but they were cross with me.
Why didn't he keep up?
Well, exactly my question.
Very frustrating.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, I had one, also British, and he was actually didn't want to climb into the fence.
Yeah,
and so we had a fight. And
that's
then,
always the way.
So then I climbed to the top of the fence and said, "Pass me your camera, I'll go without you." So that motivated him to go. And no sooner did we hit the ground on the other side that the sirens went and we got arrested. And he wasn't talking to me.
You, no.
But then he came to see me in Afghanistan, and we were on the roof of this mud building on the front line, and they started firing mortars and things, and they fired one at us, and the ceiling collapsed, but only the part where he was standing. And I couldn't stop laughing because
he went down and you were there. Because
the Afghans thought it was hilarious. We were all around, and the middle of this building just opened up. The mud just swallowed him, and he was in a pile at the bottom in his tripod and camera. And he left after that.
Collateral damage.
Went back to England.
Really,
yes.
Boys with cameras.
Yes, I stayed. They said they were going to send someone to replace me. I said, "How are they going to get here?" They said, "I don't know. Is there I said, "Look," I said, "it's the only one way in. It's helicopter, and I'll have it shot down." So they didn't say.
They just left you there.
They left for months. For months. Nobody can understand why I wanted to be there.
I love it.
Yeah, where else would you be? So grumpy cameraman, I'm very familiar with that.
Yes, grumpy cameraman running behind you, really rather hoping that you'll stop, is a sort of common thing.
Yes.
But just that,
or that you'll get shot.
They always hope that. Yeah, they always hope that. Yeah,
Yes.
or that, something will happen to you and you'll be mercilessly crying for their help on the floor like some damsel in distress. But always going towards the thing. And that kind of shaped the 10 years, I guess, of having a massive platform and going towards it. And then just at a certain point, I guess it was just decided that I was too noisy. I had too many platforms. I had too many. The audience was too big. The newspaper loved me because my columns were most read. The radio loved the show because they couldn't understand how so many people were listening when my views were not approved London views.
No.
How would people, like a literal inability to comprehend why people would want to listen. But you can see that right now. It's happening again, right? The time comes again. But an inability to comprehend why would anyone want to listen to that woman? But it was because I was just showing stuff. And I have empathy.
Well, it was because you were honest.
Honest. I have empathy for a lady that's been brought over here by Save the Children onto the shores of Italy and now finds herself sat on a small plastic chair on the side of the road with makeup on that is she's clearly unwell and is sweating, and she is there to help the truckers that come past. And she's obviously being run by a gang.
Yeah.
You know, she's obviously, and when you speak with her, we looked after in a house, and what's your job? Oh, I'm here to help truckers. You know, she's just placed there on the side of the road. And that Save the Children brought me
sick,
here.
Doesn't it?
Oh, did they? Would Save the Children like to see what they've done to you? Bring it, and you say to her, do you think you'll ever leave this place? And she says, well, if God willing. I remember her saying, God willing. And at that point, all she had left was this hope in God that somehow he would save her from this sweaty little chair on the side of the road where she was there to service truckers.
Did you know that cardiovascular diseases are the leading cause of mortality today globally, taking an estimated 17.9 million lives each year? And we all know that the American healthcare system is broken. Big Pharma charges an arm and a leg for their products, while insurance companies are focused on growing healthcare spending. Medicine is big business, and if you have a heartbeat, you're their target buyer. So I'm always researching ways to take care of myself naturally. And one of the most overlooked factors I found is simply improving your blood flow. Poor blood flow can lead to a slew of health issues, but it doesn't have to. Blood Flow 7 from Juvenon is a daily supplement and patented formula that works by boosting your body's nitric oxide, NO levels, by up to 230% and opening arteries up to 62% to improve blood flow throughout your body. That means getting more oxygen and nutrients to your brain, heart, and muscles, and even places that need a little extra help as you age. But what is nitric oxide? NO is a signaling molecule that regulates blood flow. It is absolutely essential in the body and even helps the immune system by defending against pathogens, controlling immune cells, and coordinating immune responses. A very smart man named Dr. Nathan Bryan, who's a renowned nitric oxide biochemist that has studied NO for 18 years, has deemed it the longevity molecule, and himself has stated that loss of nitric oxide production is the earliest onset progression of age-related chronic disease. So things like erectile dysfunction, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and high blood pressure, which is the number one driver of cardiovascular disease, which is the number one killer of men and women worldwide. And if you can't walk up a flight of stairs or can't exercise moderately for 15 to 20 minutes without getting winded, for example, you're likely nitric oxide deficient. But the signs of NO deficiency aren't all that obvious. When you're in your 20s, your nitric oxide levels are at their peak, but start to decline in your 30s. By age 40, they've dropped to just 50% of what they used to be. By age 60, your levels plummet to a mere 15% of your youthful production. So please don't sleep on this one. I'd recommend trying Blood Flow 7 today. It's doctor-formulated, scientifically backed, with premium and natural ingredients. And over 4,500 people have given it 5 stars. It's a game changer. Go to bloodflow7.com/Lara or click the link below in the description below to receive a special discount today. Or if you're interested in learning more about this patented formula, you can do so at bloodflow7.com/Lara. This is not medical advice. These statements haven't been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. If you have a heart condition or have recently had a heart attack, consult a medical professional before taking any nitric oxide boosting product. Dr. Nathan Bryan is not associated with this product. His research is simply relevant and used as a resource to support the statements in this ad. His work can easily be found online.
Anyway, so I have empathy for the people that come here. It's not a hatred, it's a kindness, actually. So
So this is the thing, Katie, what you're talking about. This is what happened to me in my life. I don't even like being called conservative or not conservative.
Human.
It's got human. That's what it is. It's like, it's when you look down at a child that's just come across the river and they're maybe 2 years old, and you lift up their shirt and there's a number in there that's supposedly the number of their family member they're going to, and you call that number like I did 150 times and nobody ever answers, and you know that child's not here to be reunited with their family. They're here not, to sit in another sweaty chair to service other people until they die. And you want to say to save the children and all the others who move people across borders to be human mattresses, to be tortured and raped until they're dead. You want to say, I'm not okay with that, and I'm not going to be quiet.
No, and that stuff that is precisely the sorrow that I can feel now. I still carry is the sorrow of knowing that it's goodness that motivates you to tell personal stories, but you get labelled as a hater. Whereas it's actually that you care.
Yes.
And so, I've lain on the southern Texan border at the Catholic Charities Commission, as they bus in the illegals from the Rio Grande. They brought them in. This is obviously before the great man, President Trump, came back into power.
The great man.
Clearly. It was back in another time. But, and I remember the woman who ran the Catholic...
Obama's time or Biden's time.
I believe Obama then, yeah.
Yeah, during the 2014-15 great sort of sudden crisis of unaccompanied minors.
Yeah,
i.e.
and they
children
just watching
alone.
them bus in the actual vehicles that were supposed to be there to patrol the borders, but whatever. And then I was lying in the bushes to film them arrive, and this woman from the Catholic Charities Commission started yelling at me, like, you want these people to be targeted by the people that brought them here, do you? You want them to be attacked, making you to be the bad.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what you're bringing these kids in for. You are the problem. And I know they have the Catholic Charities badge, but it was, as you know,
it doesn't matter.
massive...
They hand out a plastic rosary and send you to be raped to death.
Yeah, exactly.
Fabulous.
Right.
Yeah.
A massive money-making opportunity.
Massive.
And the movement of human flesh was greater, or has been greater in recent years than at any time, I'd argue, in human history.
Absolutely.
And absolutely controlled and funded and rewarding the most powerful people on the planet.
For the worst reasons.
For the worst reasons. And at that point, and I know the day, like, stood on the southern shoreline and the NGO boats and saved the children. And I had saved the children. I was ringing the headquarters because I wanted to go on the boat, and they were just about to leave to go and do another mission to pick up the next load. And that was the day it was decided that I would be utterly eviscerated from the face of the planet. And a week later, it all came.
Imploded.
All. In every way.
Yeah. I understand. That's when cancel culture comes for you.
Yeah, and I find that word really weird, like cancel culture, because it's sort of so, it almost feels like, when you watch people mop a floor, but they're not really interested in, not like the real hard worker mop a floor, people that don't really want to mop the floor and they do this.
Yes.
And you feel like getting the mop off them because you're like, that's not how you mop. This is how you mop.
Yeah.
So cancel culture, to me, that word is like that. That's the person that, it's so surface level.
It's like trafficking. It's like saying trafficking.
But it's
like saying grooming.
It doesn't get into
rape.
it doesn't get into anywhere near.
No.
If you're going to be eviscerated by the powerful,
yes,
it is an absolute removal of every cell of you.
You know what
it
reminds me of, what you're describing? I did a story for 60 Minutes in Mosul, Iraq, and the main character in the story was the butcher of Mosul who was beheading all these people. So I asked the Iraqi commander if they had any evidence, videos of the butcher at work. And so he handed me a stack of CDs, which I didn't realize, of course, that it was all the beheadings. And so once I learned the butcher's technique, I had to go through all the beheadings and find the butcher and know which ones, from his technique, you would know which ones were his work. But there's so few beheadings that actually happen quickly. Most of them are, rusty knives and they're sawing away forever and it's gurgling and blood and air escaping and it takes forever. The amazing part that no one ever talks about are the cleanup crews. And you have all these beheadings, sometimes one person, sometimes 5, sometimes 12, and what do you think happens? There's blood everywhere. And so you just have these little armies of women that come in and there they are, scrubbing away, cleaning up the blood. And I just watched them one after another after another. I mean, my producer and I, Jeff Newton, we spent all night watching beheadings. It was quite something. I mean, at a certain point, you put a chair up against the door because you're just like, wow, evil is real and it's casual in the execution of its duties. But wow, how do you explain these people? So I feel having someone who I know exactly what you're talking about, when they came for me, I have that moment too. I feel it's like that bloodbath and all the, these sort of mindless, I don't even know how you describe it, these little women that come in.
And make it seem okay. Yeah.
And they just mop it up.
Yeah, and they keep going. And I will always say, and I have a huge amount now of sympathy for people when I see it happening to someone else, which is helpful because I can dive in and say, or here's a couple things that I know from my life. No one knows anyone else's thing. But, when they decide you will not speak anymore,
yes,
then it's absolute, it's a nuclear level of attack. That's on correct. Every element of your life, on every element of the lives of those that you may have touched or be close to. And
they want your marriage to come apart. They want your children to come apart. They want you never to be employed again. They want you to be impoverished. They want to drive you to suicide so they don't have to have the trouble of killing you.
Yeah, exactly. Every day you don't swing is a day you win, is something I say often now with others that get pushed to the point that I see that when it comes, because I know it. Because I left my house to go swing because I reached a point as a rational, non-emotional, quite, as you see, quite masculine, military, some would say ruthless individual. I left my house to go swing because as a rational mother, I believed the only way I could save my children was for me not to exist anymore. And my husband caught me before. And so we had a different plan then, so lovely Mark took the children and he took them away and he changed all of their names. All of them have different names. And then he put them somewhere else. I don't own anything anymore. That doesn't matter at all. Who cares? But he took everything and put it all into something else and took them away. And then I never once turned up for any of their schools ever, which actually, when you think about what I just said about Schoolgate mums,
it's probably a good idea.
It's a blessing.
Yes, God was looking after you.
And then I've
and
never
moms.
engaged so that they would be free of me. And then I packed and I left to come actually here. One of the reasons I love Americans so much is I owe America so much. And I spent nearly 5 years probably on the road in America, off and on, sometimes going back just to dip in, but to give them a chance to survive me.
I knew that I loved you, but I just didn't know how much. Sorry that you went through that.
So when people say cancel culture,
it
doesn't come near, and nor I also would say no one needs to understand that, because actually I will still always hold dear that if you decide, as you did, to put yourself out there, you decide to climb the fence and you decide to be on that roof and you decide, then you own all of it.
Yeah.
You can't choose, as I haven't had for 20 years, to be liked. You can't choose to have only kindness come your way.
No.
You have to own all of it. And you own the bit that hurts your family. And you own the bit where they try and a couple of jihadis came to chop my head off. They did prison time. They got released early for good behaviour. Why not? All they did was come to get my head. Let them out early.
In fact, they were disappointed they didn't get the opportunity to actually fulfill their task.
Let them go again. See if they do a better
let's
job
give
this
them another
time.
chance.
Yes.
Try again, boys.
She's a bit more haggard. Might take a bit more
Not
effort.
just quick. She's a little slower in her old age. Given that you're so old.
I'm so old. Thanks for bringing us back to that.
Yes.
So you own all of it. And that's a good and powerful thing to always keep hold, is never to blame others or the other or the left, or is to hold all of it and own all of it. And that's I like that way to think of it, because it also then enables you to own dealing with it. And that may need to be the most extreme, but it may be that you can take one step back from swinging. Because I still say every day you don't swing, you win, which is a great idea for our side, because many of our side have been pushed
to the
past
brink.
that point, or beyond it, actually.
Or beyond it. Yes, it's very interesting, and I'm learning from you as I listen to you, because it is true. You do have to own all of it. It doesn't give them a free pass, though, because some people will listen to that and they think you're not giving them a free pass. It's just what it does is it concentrates your responsibility and effort in the area that you control, because you don't control what happens to them.
Right.
You may spend some time wishing.
Yes.
A lot of things.
Yeah, you may go and deliver some of those. Vengeance is a very powerful way of feeling better.
Well, my mother said revenge is a dish best served cold, my darling.
It is. And I have been very fortunate to live long enough, like we talked about. Yeah. I mean, all of this is just desperately reaching for the ground, like Newton and his gravity and all of that. I am living proof of Newton and gravity. It's terribly depressing, but I have lived long enough. You know, there's a saying, if you stand long enough by the river, the bodies of your enemies come floating by.
This is very true.
And what's been so joyous is that people who formerly hated me, or the notion of me, this woman gobbing off about things on TV, they've seen the people that in the past were the victors, the people who would humiliate me, the people who scored the cheap points because it was so easy to go, oh, she's dreadful. They've watched those bodies, those TV hosts, those people who kept their jobs come floating down the river. And it is part of when I do my stand-up shows now, I talk about them and the audience just falls about laughing because I've lived long enough to watch their careers implode, because the nasty secrets they were all hiding came to light.
And they were shown for who they really were.
Yeah, the nation's most prestige newsreader, Hugh Edwards, beloved by the BBC. Oh, what a great man, was there for the Queen's funeral. Turns out to be a paedophile who's been showing his anus to young children on social media. You know what I mean? There's no joy in that horrible act, but there is a certain sort of level of vengeance that comes from watching them come to their own demise in their own good time.
Yes.
And then to still be here, you're still here.
Well, I have some Sicilian blood, so I have to work really hard and remember that vengeance is mine, said the Lord. You know what I mean? And it's okay, because there's so much of your effort is still spent on survival. You know, you have to survive this, and it's really important because we're the living proof that they don't win.
Yeah, and it's important, and it's particularly important. So on a week where we lose Charlie, it's so important that we are able to respectfully, I think of it entirely in a military way, is to respectfully step around those who fell, and I honestly feel it viscerally, to make my arms go, we continue to march forwards. Like, I already feel us, because of all that Charlie brought us to this point, we pick that up and him up, and we go forwards. Like, I feel we're already going forwards. And that doesn't mean that you move on. No. Or it doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean oh, it's fine. It's not fine.
No, it's not fine.
But it means that we go forwards, and that number got bigger and we got stronger. And I definitely feel that. And I think all of these decades of this effort lead us to this point.
Well, and all those young people that Charlie is bringing still, even from the grave. that he's bringing with them, marching forward, as you say. They look to people like us and they see, oh, it wasn't easy. And then that helps to prepare them for the idea that it wasn't easy. And, nobody wants to go and watch a movie. It's not a great story that somebody, set off and everything went right and they just succeeded. And that, if you think of every great moving success story, it always involved struggle. Right?
And I think the most fascinating people are battered women who are utter, like I'm describing myself here, not you, you're fabulous, but like women who've gone through it, have got the scars, who've made colossal mistakes. I mean, you want to rip apart, like if someone wants to rip apart my life and go through some of the worst things I've done, do it, because there is material there for days.
Yeah.
Like, I have not lived a clean life or a good life. I've been a terrible person, I'm sure. There's images that I'm probably not that proud of and things you could bring at me. And I
that applies to all of us.
Yeah, and I don't have secrets, but I've always been able to know that I always have been totally true to what I think is right, what I believe is right.
Yes.
And that's, people say, how did you cope with being the most hated? How did you cope with everybody loathing you?
That's a tough thing.
How do you cope with people coming to kill you or whatever? But how do you cope with being hated by everybody? That was their impression, everybody.
Wow.
Or they would say, and I don't want to assume for you, but it's your kids I feel sorry for. Right? That would be a line from women typically. Oh, those poor kids. And people would ask, like in an incredulous way, how do your kids feel about having you as a mother? They would do that. And that's a common thing.
And that's going for the jugular.
It is, but it's also like a crazy level of a lack of understanding on their part. Because of course the mum my kids see is the mum anyone's kids see, like shouting at them to try and put the lid on the toothpaste, or like, could someone change a toilet roll, please? Like, could someone change the toilet? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Or just the basic level stuff of like, could you, when the wash is finished, could you get it out? Like,
not just dump it on the floor.
Not just dump it on the floor. Yeah. So that's the mum they all knew. So it's kind of a standard mum, right? Everyone is a kind of standard mum somewhere, hopefully. And so I always could go back to this idea of being all right with myself, knowing even when the world seemed to hate me, or at least all the headlines said that I knew I wasn't what they said. That was the only thing probably that saved me in some of the darkest times. I'm not what you say. I'm not what you say. And not necessarily needing to, I had no tool to persuade people otherwise. I just had to sit quietly with it.
But people, they know the truth. No, but people even, they just sense it in you. They may not have all the tools to understand it, but that's why they can't convince people that Charlie Cook was a racist or that Charlie was homophobic or whatever, because it's just not true and people know it.
It's not the truth.
And now, of course, there's lots of videos and evidence demonstrating that, so it's there for anyone to see. But it's just, it's a visceral thing, especially when you're consistent over time and people see you, you're willing to be vulnerable. You're a comedian, and anyone who does
myself
that.
First. Yeah,
yes, exactly.
100%.
You see that vulnerability in someone and you see that reality. And so people don't forget that. It's just one of those things that nobody can take away.
Yeah, and sometimes people that sort of knew me a little bit in the interim years when I was super hated, they would say, we should try and help you. We should try and let people know you're not at all what people say. Or people would meet me in the street and they would be like, you're not what I thought you were. And I would always come back and say, no, we don't need to explain. I don't need to let other people know I'm not what they think. They think those things. I know I'm not, but I'm not trying to convince anyone.
Yeah.
I just had to wait, and
patience is not always easy.
Patience is impossible for me. I'm horrible at being patient. Have to have everything done immediately. The minute I think instantly. Of it, it has to be done. I'm no good at, like, my mum and dad call me slapdash Lil, because I just do everything really quickly and not necessarily well. Lovely Mark calls me slapdash because he's a man of detail and I'm a woman of none. You know, if it's,
Yes.
half a job, Harry. That's my father's name for me as well. Half a job, Harry. Because I just do the fun bit and then I don't do the important bit. You know, like whatever the thing that needed tying properly, I never do it.
No, or read instructions, things like that. No,
God,
please.
give it a
I don't know
kick
who
and
makes
give it a go.
instruction
Yeah.
manuals. They should
Ta-da.
be shot.
Yes.
Everyone who makes an instruction manual should
people
be
that
shot.
sit in the dark and write code. I mean, kill me.
I know.
Detail people.
Taking over the whole world.
Or people that want to explain things slowly. You know, you want to get a little, you know, like, so let me just tell you, let me help you understand this. And all my brain is like, where's the fast forward? Please talk fast. Like, I like, you know what I mean? Or like you're checking into a hotel.
Yeah.
Now, here's your key. Like, quick, come on. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Have you stayed with us before?
Already I'm dead. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, come on, let's go. Yeah, like I could get 18 more things done in this particular moment. Let's go. Yeah, and Mark gets so cross. Like, you know, I will get up and clear plates in a restaurant. I will, you know, because I'm that girl.
I've been known to do the same.
Yeah, it's because I'm a waitress by background.
But then they all run when you...
Then they run because they're
run.
scared of you and they think you're being a mega bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just don't want to look at the dirty plates a minute longer.
No, when you feel like, I can just do this in 2 seconds.
It'll be so quick.
Let me get behind the bar.
You know why? Because you learn. You have to do those things quickly.
Because I did do those things. I was a terrible cleaner, but I was a good barmaid. I remember.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Yeah, I remember one time, you know, the festival, Glastonbury.
Yes.
Well, back in the day when it was proper festival, before now it's just a nonsense woke fest with people who have too much money, you know, save Palestine, whatever. But back in the day, it was brilliant. And I went there, dark things happened. And then I had to go back to my job as a barmaid. And I got this thing called, what's it called when it blisters on your face?
Herpes.
Wasn't herpes, wasn't syphilis, wasn't chlamydia. It was something dreadful. And I had this blistering, bubbling sore here. And I looked like those women that were like in Tudor England, you know, with this pustulating face. But I still turned up for work. That's the moral of that story.
Did they really... were they appreciative of that? Or
I don't know. It was the West Country. It's the countryside. It's the farming community.
It didn't put any off any of the customers.
Probably. But I come from farming stock. So, and a true story, I know British teeth, right? But my old dentist was the village vet. I know, it's funny, but it was true. And he didn't used to wear gloves.
Wow.
So like 1 minute he'd be, and then the next minute.
That's why they call it foot and mouth.
Right.
You know?
And it's also over here, well, particularly in like sort of when I'm on the road in California or somewhere, and women will always come teetering over, you know, the Californian ladies.
Yeah.
Immaculate. And they look at me like they can't work out what happened with my face. They're like, what is that doing down there? But they come over, there's someone I want you to meet. Come on, Katie. I want you to meet. This is my husband. He's a dental surgeon. And it's like, there's an implied, you could use his services. And it's happened to me with a plastic surgeon as well. Come. Meet my husband. He's a plastic surgeon. Like, you could use his services. Yeah. So it's a funny thing, but I am definitely a hardy sort, made from hardy stock.
Well, you needed to be. It was kind of training and preparation for what was coming.
And so
but when you came to the US,
yes,
right? What did you do in that moment? How did you survive?
I was so, you know, America will always be I think, there's a sort of a true home here, somewhere that's in my core.
Yes.
Like, and Texas feels very it. Like
that
whole come and get it thing. Like, oh, well, come on.
Come and take it.
Oh, come and take it. Like, fucking come
but
and
come and get it.
Come and get
That'll
it.
work
Just
too.
come and have it. Whatever you consider this an all-you-can-eat buffet. Whatever. Get it, take it, have it. Freaking end it. I mean, one day, someone, please. God, I'm tired. But no, just that. And I'm just like a truck. Like today on Main Street, I'll just go like that because like a big truck with a big guy with a big arm.
Cowboy, don't forget, cowboy hat, boots.
Men being manly. Whoa.
You should be at the rodeo here.
I love it.
They go down on their knees and they take their hats off and they hold it to their chest and they sing the national anthem.
I've seen that. I'd like to be a buckle bunny, but I'm more of a sort of buckle old hare. Yeah, it's a shame. They leap off their horses and they grasp a cow and they wrestle it to the ground. I just think, oh, I wish I would be that cow. I'd run. Set me naked, run me across the rodeo, jump off your beast and wrestle me to the floor. Cover myself in baby oil and hope for the best. These are the dreams that I have now. This is the land of the free.
I think there will be a number of Texas men who will be lining up from here to Timbuktu.
I will be your rodeo bait. What do they call that thing? I will be that cow runner thing.
The rodeo clown?
No, not the clown, the cow. I want to be the heifer. I will be the rogue heifer. Yeah, or what's the old cow, the knackered old cow that no one dares get rid of because everyone loves it? I'll be her, running across the pitch, field, track, whatever. But so America calls to my soul for that reason. Then I was so blessed that because I'd been on Tucker twice a week, because I'd been on Sean Hannity, because I had a little name still, just as I was eviscerated, I was kind of swooped up by the National Federation of Republican Women, Federated, whatever. And I had this opportunity to speak at their national conference where all the leaders of all the different ones come.
Yeah.
And I got to do 20 minutes there. And boy, did I have funsies. Like, I had the best time. We all laughed to death. And then as a result of that, every single one of them invited me to come
to their chapter.
So I just did that. And I moved like, I don't know if you know the movie where Tom Hanks, who I detest because he's obviously a cretin, but Tom Hanks goes around and he brings, people didn't have newspapers back then, so he goes from town to town telling stories. And I kind of became that. I went from town to town telling the story of Great Britain, but also...
So yours were true.
Mine were true, and also they were funny. Like, I would bring funny, like the difference between Americans and Brits. Like, there's so much cute funniness.
There's so many things.
Just the cute. Like,
there's a lot of YouTube influencers that do that with kids.
Do that now, but back in
which is better, American breakfast or English breakfast? Right,
right, or just like the beautiful thing that you've done to the English language and the way that you guys talk.
Yes,
it's beautiful the way you use vowels. I just think what Americans done,
and the war on adverbs.
The war. Yeah, American.
You did good. You did well.
Sorry, pardon, what? And then Americans, just beautiful ability, like, because British people, we don't speak really, and we keep our heads down and we're very quiet, and we apologise for ourselves all the sorry. So if someone rams a trolley into you, what do you call it? A cart. Right?
A cart.
At an airport, we call those things you push, we call them a trolley.
Same in a supermarket.
A trolley. Supermarket trolley, you call them a
cart.
Like I say, it is beautiful what you've done to the language, because we say trolley and you say cart. You see, that's charming, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just lands beautifully. Cart.
It's like the boot of the car. It's a trunk.
So anyway, but Americans just, you're so blooming lovely, and so I would just go around the country doing funnies and telling truths, and you guys saved me completely, because I have to work, because I was brought up, I've always had to work. I concede if I'm not working, I'm a failure. I've got issues, whatever. And you made it such that I could just work, because I could schlep, turn up, do my thing, make people feel better, move on. And eventually went back to the UK. And then quite by chance, a gentleman allowed me to he saw what I was trying to do, with Batshit Bonkers, a daily news blast, trying to laugh at myself, trying to come back and realise that actually people needed to feel better. Like at some basic level, people just needed to feel better, and I needed to try and help make people feel better.
Because you have a gift for that.
Because maybe laugh at me. Look how my disasters. Look what a laughing stock I've been. Look at all the headlines. Hopkins loses home. Hopkins receives award. I was duped by someone and taken to have an award where I was called a horrible name and I was completely stitched up and humiliated. Wow. But basically, look how awful. She's been, basically look how humiliated I've been. Now come laugh at me and with me and we'll feel better. And it became it just caught on. And a guy let me stand on his stage, 1,500 people, And all of a sudden, it just sold and sold and sold, wouldn't stop selling. And then it became the fastest selling show in the history of the theatre. And that started it. So that was 3 years ago. And that's when I was allowed to be back. And I was allowed to have a voice. I was allowed to have my own voice. I was allowed to be unapologetically me online. Mm-hmm. I wasn't trying to do all the political stuff, but I actually am. Mm-hmm. But I was funny. And it turns out the AI and the algorithm, I believe they are possibly German or Canadian because they don't have a sense of humour.
No.
So the algorithm is Canadian.
Definitely.
Or German. Mm-hmm. So not much personality and no sense of humour. Regular Germans. No, I can't really say that in Friedrichsburg, but you know what I mean. And
you can't say it. Yeah, it's okay.
This is German heartland, though. No, so
sort of.
I'm respectful. I'm respectfully
Pretend
just.
German
I'm just.
There's a German bakery.
Let's stick with the Canadians.
German brewery.
Canadians.
We'll
are
go and
funny.
have some German beer and.
Worst thing that can happen at a wedding: get sat next to a Canadian. Oh. But anyway, the point is, so I could work out that I could say stuff that I couldn't say if I was funny.
Yes.
And so I could also get away with saying stuff that I
the
wanted to.
algorithm doesn't know what to do with humour.
And because we have such huge online hate laws in the UK, where if you speak, in the times that we live in the UK, under Keir Starmer, it is North Korea. And, when truth becomes hate speech, then speaking facts becomes an arrestable offence. That's exactly where we're at, which is why I don't want hate speech laws here, honestly, but separate subject. But it means that I can get around online speech prevention by being comedy. So that's my tool.
Growing up in apartheid South Africa, which was, I know you've been to South Africa. I watched the film that you did over there.
Yeah.
With the Afrikaner people and looking at the farm murders and all of that. But growing up under very restricted emergency laws, censorship and so on, when I learned about exactly what you're doing from a man called Peter Dirk Ace, who was a fantastic satirist. And he said things. You couldn't say Nelson Mandela in public without risking arrest. You certainly couldn't print it or write about it as a journalist. Of course, the government could say at any time that Nelson Mandela's a terrorist. They could do whatever they wanted. And so as a young girl, I learned all about this. And I watched Peter Dirk Ace growing up, and I was like, this is extraordinary. This is how comedy and humour is how you get past fascism and tyranny.
Totally. Totally. And I think another interesting, another level of that is, I believe we've been let down. I think it's true in America as well, by comedians who are more interested in self-preservation than actually doing the role of the comedian, which is, they said in the time of the kings, the only person that could speak truth to power was the court jester. Mm-hmm. And that to me is the true role of the court jester.
Because many a true word is spoken in jest.
Right. But the latest in order for comedians to self-preserve and keep their little network slots, they have to be sycophants and they have to wind their neck in and they have to disavow someone like me because, she's laughing at the wrong things.
Yes.
Whereas actually the role of the comedian is to step into that role and offend everyone equally if it's required. And I say that at my shows. I say, you sit there, at some point you will be offended, but if you wait 5 minutes, the guy next to you, he'll be offended next. So just hang tight. Yeah. And they get it.
Yeah, and the woman in front.
And you stand there and say, I don't want to be agreed with. I didn't ask to be liked. And this is where we start to weave in the Charlie lines, which is nobody asked to be agreed with. I am not asking to be agreed with. I am not asking to be liked. Here's me. Mm-hmm. You do you. I am thrilled for you. The reason I want to keep stages, the reason I'm winning theatres back with our audiences, which is why the power is with the people because they sell my stuff out, is I want the person who thinks 180 degrees opposite to me and maybe hates me. I want them to have that stage. Well, and Charlie would have said the same.
Charlie used to say, if you disagree with me, come to the front of the line.
Precisely.
When he was at the colleges talking to kids.
Precisely.
Come to the front of the line.
Come to the front. I want to hear
that
you.
Debate. Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like I organised to come on this trip, separate to all that's just gone on with Charlie.
Yes, I know, because we had to wait a few months for you.
But I can't help but believe, I always say your path in life is already set, right?
Of course.
I believe the freer you are, the more you throw yourself to the path, the clearer it becomes. And I am absolutely certain I'm supposed to be here now.
Yes.
I am certain I'm supposed to be a celebration of life for someone else in a few weeks' time. And Charlie was the speaker at that celebration of life. And now I'll be here to help fill a little tiny bit of that gap that none of us can fill. But, this idea, I want you to come and disagree with me. We just are moving in that same direction. And that's what my comedy shows do. They allow people to laugh at the things you're not allowed to say, because I can just about get away with saying them now in the guise of comedy. And it's a fine line. I was arrested and interviewed under caution. I haven't spoken about this yet, about 3 weeks ago. And I'm waiting to be charged for the crime of online communications, crime of speech. For my Katie's, I do a pub night online called the Katie's Arms.
I love the Katie's Arms.
So I've been arrested for that.
I see.
Because of what I said on my Katie's Arms pub.
When you talk about that, the role of a comedian, it reminds me of the role of a journalist. Because when I was growing up as a journalist, we didn't expect to be liked by the government, and we always got complaints from the audience. And you were sort of, and the mantra was, if you're hated by everybody, you're doing something right. If everybody's unhappy with you. And then suddenly along the way, we became crowd pleasers. I don't know. And, so you want to, I've got to get access to the president. So therefore, I've got to stick my head up his,
yes,
you know what.
Hold the line.
Yeah. And if the White House calls after the bulletin yelling and screaming at you, your editor's going to capitulate. No, in the old days, that wasn't like that. My first newspaper editor back in 1988 had pockmarked skin from acne as a youth, was made him bitter, of course, and cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and he'd leave, coffee cups everywhere and turned everything into an ashtray.
Like my first
every word
guy.
was, F this and F that. And he didn't care if you, just did your job.
My first editor at The Sun, who recruited me that brought me into the world of kind of writing truths eventually, because they realised I wasn't just trying to be a celebrity columnist. I cared, and I could write. When Rupert Murdoch rang from his helicopter to fire me over a column in the newspaper, Stop the Boats, 14 years ago, my editor wouldn't fire me. So Murdoch said, fire her. He wouldn't, because he placed the column. And he said, no, I placed that column. If you fire her, what does it say for me? And he wouldn't. And that was the day we knew those editors. Cut to today, of course, and we know that they just bend down on bended knee.
Of course.
I think we share, not to speak in a disparaging manner about anything American, but, I'm totally banned from Fox News Media.
Me too.
Of course you are.
We just keep stacking up the things we have in common.
And so what's so interesting then is to watch the comedians on Fox, no criticism, because any voice is better than none. But I know the line those boys and girls have to tread to stay in that show means they can't do comedy. They have to work within a tennis court or a baseball court, whatever you guys would, football court, football pitch.
Yeah.
What is a normal court for you? But they have to work inside this very tight parameters of what they can and cannot go to. That is a tough job to be so restricted. But Fox News,
same. Whether you're a journalist or a comedian, it's the same thing. You still have to stay inside the box.
Yeah. And Australians would say, why are you never on Fox over here? Well, because we're banned from it. It doesn't mean you wish that Fox didn't exist.
No.
It doesn't mean I don't want those people that are on it to do well. I do.
Sure, of course.
But the reality is it's a limited voice, a limited viewpoint.
Well, yes, and they keep the greatest voices on there, like Jesse Waters. They keep them there to give themselves credibility they don't deserve. Because otherwise the audience will see them for who they truly are. So they put great people like that on there who are constantly pushing the envelope, constantly, biting at the...
I like him.
Yes, sort of chomping on the bit, right?
Yeah.
But it was, I have to be honest, when I was at 60 Minutes, if I was still there, it would be the same with me.
Yeah.
Right? These are the people that pay your salary.
Yeah.
These are the people that, you get that phone call, You got to come down to the executive producer's office.
Exactly.
And you're going to get yelled at.
Well, not you, but me, because I'm so old. But it would be the young ones who would be policing. You know, I remember there was a time with Judge Janine. You know, we hung out a bit and we've had some giggles. But there was a time when, because she was so under scrutiny, she had to go, you know, she used to do her opening segment, right?
Of course, I did her show many times.
Of course. And she used to have to go in and pre-record that damn thing.
Because they wanted to vet it.
2 days before. So how can you possibly do an opening gambit in American news that moves, that the cycle moves so fast? How can you possibly record it 2 days before and it be fresh? And it go up the chain to 22-year-olds for them to police it, for her to, then she would have to put on, you know how amazing she always looks. She had to then redo that whole thing and check it to check she looked the same to do the rest of the show.
It's outrageous, isn't it?
Like, what level of insanity is that?
You know, the thing I wanted to say when you described how everything imploded on you, I think the reason they come for you and they came for me and they wanted to judge Janine like that is because it comes down to really one thing in the end. We're not controllable. And it's not because we're, you know, trying to be, you know, wild and reckless. It's because we follow principle and are guided by integrity, and we want to know the truth. And that's not acceptable. They don't like that. It has to be, you can only do that within these parameters. And anytime the truth, you know, knocks up against the narrative, well, look the other way, dear.
Yeah, I think it's right. And there is something weird about certain women who are more this way. For some, we are less absorbed by the need to be part of the slapping back network because we never really belonged there. We never fitted in with the golfers or the slap back. Come on, let's go and watch the game together. So we were kind of always out on a limb in our early days. Maybe I don't speak for you because obviously you're so much younger than me.
Yes.
Make me the old
so much younger.
So much younger than me. And it meant somehow that when we've always been somehow on the sort of boundary of the thing, but it means when we were let loose, we really were unstoppable. And then for me, you know, my seizures got to a point where they were not survivable. I was told within 2 years that one of these huge seizures would end me. And they put me on a wait list for a massive brain surgery. And I had the brain surgery. I don't have a little top of my head anymore as a result.
See.
I know, it's kind of okay. But anyway, so I got to stay alive. So I'm on extra time now anyway, have been for 10 years.
Yes.
So there's no fear. So I have nothing to fear. And I feel like you have a similar thing because of the places. It's never really been a fear thing, even running, whatever you've run towards. You don't fear the end because I don't think you feel like your time is now. Like the time, I believe my time is already set. Like the day that is known. It doesn't feel like it's today. I mean, if it happens later, I'm up for it.
Hope not.
I hope it's going to come when I'm being wrangled by some massive rodeo cowboy, to be honest with you. If that's my final day, I went down exactly the way I wanted to.
Make sure your last words are yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Mark said to me the other day, lovely Mark, my husband, so I was doing something dastardly and I hurt myself rather badly. And Mark said, serves you right. And he's the kindest, you wouldn't believe it would come out of his mouth because he's the sweetest. Like he has soft hair, facial hair, has a skull for a wedding ring. He wears soft shoes. He likes a chino. He's the sweetest thing. People think I'd be married to an arsehole, but I'm not. And anyway, he said, serves you right. And I was like, that is what I want written on my final stone. Serves you right. Like that to me, what a brilliant thing it would be if the last thing someone ever said to you was serves you right. Because I feel like that's true. Like my life, it does serve me right. Whatever's coming, it does serve me right. I'm really annoying. And I've been around a really long time. And I'm not stopping. So something else is going to have to stop me.
This is good. You know, my mother used to say she wanted on her gravestone, this woman was nagged to death. I don't want a gravestone. I'll do anything. You can say whatever the hell you want.
You don't want one?
But I don't want one.
What's happening to you? You're being thrown into nothing.
Ashes.
Into where?
Well, I don't want to be put in a box.
Oh, good. See, I've specified as well.
By insects.
So I'm ashes, but I've demanded that my entire family have to go somewhere hot because I will not be thrown somewhere cold.
Oh.
Because as well as disagreeing with short people, I disagree with
the cold. Yes.
Hence, I love Texas.
Yes. So I have requested
yes.
that when they can, they make a journey to South Africa to
come on. Place. I could do this for you. Carry along. I'm not going to outlive you, so that's a pain. But should I? I'm willing to be part of the carry party.
Thank you.
Where to?
Yes, to Glenmore Beach, which is south of Durban. And it's beautiful and wild. And
because you're a Durban girl, aren't you?
I am. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm willing to be part of the carry party.
Well, thank you
if
very
I outlive
much.
you, I believe in God, but that is not okay.
I just want them to throw my ashes to the ocean and melt away. And when we were following my mother's hearse at her funeral, it's a little bit of an odd situation. You know, you're in the car. I was with my brother and sister, and you know your mother's body. You're looking at the coffin through the window, and my phone rang, and someone was like, I was like, I can't talk right now, and going to watch my mother
tell me it was your mum.
Body be burned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just a bizarre, it's like an out-of-body experience. So I said to my, on the way home from the cremation, I told my brother and sister, it's really important, I want you to know this. I don't want to be buried.
In a box.
I do not want to be eaten by
in
insects.
A box.
I don't want to rot.
No, I don't. And I don't want someone who does a sermon really slow either.
No.
But I'll be like that. Come on! I mean, I'll be in ashes, but I'll be like, chip chop, chip chop, chip chop, chip chop. She was a pain in the ass, blah, blah, blah. Jolly good. Off we go, have a drink.
Now, I knew they would know the place I wanted my ashes. So I told them, so I said to my brother, what do you want? And he said, well, I want to be wrapped in the flag of whatever country I'm in and tossed overboard. Ooh. So I said to my sister, what about you? And she said, well, I don't know, but it better be at sea because I don't want to be the only one left on land.
That's the cutest thing. And that's like a movie right there. Do you know what you should do is, obviously, we've discussed the fact that I'm much older, so I'm definitely going to be dead first. But if I should survive you, you should give some ashes to me. And then, as part of our vengeance that we're secretly quite big fans of, I could get someone, put them into the air conditioning units at Fox. And then they'd be like that. And you know that woman that said she couldn't survive your perfume?
Yes.
We could put some into her air conditioning unit of your ashes.
If she's still alive. Because her allergy, her terrible allergy to perfume might have killed her by now.
We'll set her off with you.
Yeah. This is excellent. I'm writing you into my will.
Write me into your will immediately. Don't leave me any of those dogs, though. 155,000 dogs.
I know you don't want any of the cats either, do you?
No, I don't like cats.
No.
I don't believe in cats.
That's a little tricky for me as an African because, lions, cheetah.
No, it's all you.
They're beautiful. Leopards. Gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you've got them.
I'm going to take you after this
and
like introduce you to the kittens.
I'm glad you've got them.
You have to see the kittens and tell me you don't like them.
I'm not doing that.
I'm going to make
Don't emotionally blackmail me.
I'm going to blackmail you.
Katie Hopkins does not like fluffy kittens.
Yeah.
I always knew she was a cow.
I always knew she was a bitch, right? That's right. It's true.
She doesn't like fluffy kittens.
True.
This woman would drown them. No, I wouldn't.
It's no longer, there's no longer any debate, right?
It's okay, no one saw.
No, everyone saw. Everyone saw. I love my pens. Okay, wait, Katie, I want to ask you, so I want to play something that really caught my attention when I watched this clip of yours. And what I like about it is that it's, you said from about 10 years ago. One of the many things I like about it, but it's because it's a very revealing moment. And you're on the street, I think, where are you, in Britain, but where?
This is in London, and it was the Hindu day.
Yeah.
It was their special day. It was their special day. And Pakistani Muslims had Diwali. Pakistani Muslims had been bussed in to the capital city. And it was at the time that there was a lot of conflict between India and Pakistan. So it was being reflected in London because, of course, we've got a bunch of Pakistanis in our capital city. It's run by a Pakistani, Sadiq Khan.
Indians.
And beautiful Indian people, the beautiful Indian diaspora, whom I love. Hindus, beautiful people. Diwali, Pakistanis bust in and they just defaced the Indian embassy. And I won't go into what they defaced the embassy with, but because Sadiq Khan runs London, he didn't clear up.
The mayor.
Yeah, he did not clear up the embassy with what was rubbed onto the building. He left it there on Diwali. And so I decided I would go into the scrum with those, my personal opinion is they're filthy human beings because of what they did to the embassy. And I would make a stand on behalf of our lovely Indian diaspora who absolutely should be allowed to have their excellent day.
I think we can agree that, smearing poop all over buildings is something you're supposed to grow out of.
Something you're supposed to grow out of. Or if it happens, you should clear that up in a civilized society. And also,
it really has nothing to do with race or religion. It's just basic human decency.
Basic human decency, or maybe just sanitary conditions. But also, let's think what would happen, if anyone was to protest on Ramadan, or if someone was to have a protest on Eid. Can you imagine the outrage? I would be locked up in a nanosecond.
Or if you smeared excrement on a mosque.
Oh, please. I would be.
They'd be burning down London.
It wouldn't be a survivable event.
No.
Someone would come to my home and that would be that. But these Pakistani people were able to be bussed in to protest the Hindus' day. And that's a line for me that I was so outraged I decided to march into the middle of it.
Okay, so let's play this and take a look.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Islam is so
Let's
great.
talk about
Why are you in Christian
Let's talk.
countries? Islam is so great. Why are you in my country?
This is not a Christian country, number one.
This is
It's a
a
secular country.
This
It
is
is
a
not
Christian
governed by
country.
Christian rules.
Why don't you
It
go
is
to
not
Muslim
governed.
now?
You don't speak it. Sorry. No. This is going live on Facebook. Katie, how much are you getting paid? How much are you getting paid for hating on Muslims? How much are you getting?
Fast forward to today, right? You just did one of my favorite videos, actually, about the flag. So I want to contrast these two things because at that time, this man says this is not a Christian country, first of all, and then he says this is a secular country. And the United States is living through exactly the same thing. I had a young girl tell me, can you believe it? They're trying to make us pray in school, force us to pray. And I was like, well, I don't think that's true. No one's trying to force you to pray. She says, but they're going to put the 10 Commandments in the schools. I said, well, this is a Christian country. And she was shocked. And I had this at a school board meeting where they called the police and to throw me out. I have probably a similar reputation to yours at times. They love me at the school board meetings. And I didn't know the policeman was there to, throw me out. So I gave him a big hug because he's a small town. Anyway, I had an argument with a woman and she was literally talking about these filthy books and she was proudly saying that she bought some for her grandson. And I said to her, you realize that your freedom to say all of this is, because, and I could tell, I said to her, it sounds like you, because she said, it's nothing to do with that. It's got to do with Christian nationalists. And the way she said it, I was like, it sounds like you have a problem with Christians. And she said, yes, I do. And I said, well, you realize it's a Christian country and your freedom to be here and say all of this is because of those Christian principles on which this nation was founded. That gives you that freedom. Nonsense, she told me. The founding fathers were deists. It's like, no, they were actually Protestants. But, if you're a little confused, dear, I can help you out with some reading. But it just was very interesting to me when I saw that clip because this is at the center of the conversation in the United States. And this country is unique in a sense because it was founded on a covenant with God, taking those God-given rights
yes, exactly.
and enshrining them in the Constitution and so on. And I said to somebody the other day, who wasn't particularly, didn't believe in God and whatever. And I said, so when you take God out of those rights, I said, who are they made by? Because I said, if you don't believe in God and you don't think God and Christianity has anything to do with the United States, then where do your inalienable rights come from?
Yeah, and that is such a specific and important point, and one that I try to repeat in a careful way in the UK, because that's the thing I love so much about Americans, is they have this unique, and I know say all Americans. I know that we're dealing with sort of blue states and stuff, but Americans understand we're born with some rights. These are God-given freedoms, the freedom, to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And no man gets to take those freedoms away.
That's
that
right.
You can ask any American that we would, associate with, and they will know those things straight off the bat. And a British person doesn't have that in them.
No.
You cut an American and they will bleed those freedoms. They will bleed the Constitution. It's in you. Freedom is in Americans, in your insides. It's not in British people. We still have this sort of, oh, thank you so much. We're so sorry. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Whereas Americans, I feel like you have freedom in your soul. And that's why, I always have so much confidence that America will prevail. And because Americans are so strong with their flag, America has these strengths that we lack. And I will never speak down about my country, but we don't have them in the same way. And it's why, I was so grateful to 82 million plus Americans that voted back in President Donald J. Trump, because to me, right at that moment, my arms have gone again, right at that moment when we were in a very dark point, you were literally, to your anthem, the sort of shining beacon on the hill. Like, to me, America just burned in the night when you all went in and voted Trump back in. And that's why when I came over for the inauguration, I was okay, and I knew I was carrying this kind of overwhelming gratitude when I arrived. But I was all right during the inauguration. I was all right afterwards. And then I went to Charlie Kirk's party, and I had the best time. I fell up backwards off a sofa, actually, dancing to YMCA, which I'm pretty proud that that's the last time I saw Charlie. I had both feet in the air, but never mind. And he was on the stage with JD and everyone. And it was the next day. And I was wiped out, and I went in just to eat because I hadn't eaten for the longest time. You know how it is on the road, you sort of forget. And then someone in that restaurant paid for my dinner. They didn't want to be known or identified, typical Americans, like the kindness of Americans. And I came out and I just bawled my eyes out in the street because I suddenly got hit by this overwhelming sense of what you don't realize, how many of your freedoms have been taken away until you are amongst people who still have them. And I was broken on the streets of DC because of, partly because I've been partying too hard the night before. We still had cold. Charlie, and God, it was cold, wasn't it? It was, and I don't like the cold, but it was that real kind of like a wrecking ball punched me to realize just how thin a hold we had on any freedoms back home, and how strong on that day it felt like America went, we've got these. Yes. And that's why I love Americans so much, and I'm so grateful to Americans because you give a lot of British people hope.
It's very true. And, the story of America that's told around the world doesn't really include God. And it's a lie. And, because growing up in South Africa, you in Britain, I lived in London for 10 years, although I spent 5 of them in Iraq. But you have this sense America is defined by the East and West Coast, and the other people don't make sense because they don't fit into that narrative. It's like, the only time that you hear about them is when they're sort of being, the loud, boisterous, sneaker wearing, Americans who don't know anything. They're not the real Americans, right? They're the aberration.
Yeah, and that's where I spent most of my 5 years, was in amongst that aberration. And it's why I knew Trump would win in the first term. Back then I was still invited onto CNN, and I had so much joy in telling her that, sat at the Clinton News Network, she couldn't possibly understand, but I knew he was going to win. And it was I knew I would never be invited back as well. But I knew, having hung out in Rust Belt America, I knew I knew we would win Brexit, and I knew Trump was going to win. And then for him to come back in an unbelievable way, because America rose up and went, we're getting that boy back. You can't write it.
No, because it's a lifeline.
It's every day, today,
Yes.
standing there, making cities better, off to Memphis to sort that out, Chicago next. If they hit, you spit. I mean, come on. I don't care if that's the last line I ever hear. Trumpy Trump, Trump. If they hit, you spit. Come on, America. It's just, this is the time to be alive. It is. And I say that with Charlie sat here. This is the time. Because of Charlie, we got Trump. This is the time.
We've become so insular because everyone's in a fight for their survival. And also Americans who have fed a constant diet of, the world hates Trump,
No.
the world hates Trump, the world
No.
hates Trump. So can you give us a sense of what it's like in Britain, how people look at him?
Oh, so one of the things, that I really am so grateful to have platforms now. I'm so grateful to people for bothering to have a listen to my lunacy, because get to just say, Sadiq Khan, I'm being very careful not to use his rude name here because it's very rude. Sadiq Khan presumes to speak for London, in the way that ridiculous, gruesome Newsom presumes to speak to California. I mean, California is more red. The red of California is the blood red that I love. People standing.
Whose votes have been stolen for I don't know how long.
Yeah, and in Beverly Hills, people standing for Charlie Kirk because it's that red in Beverly Hills now that
That's
no one
right.
will talk of it.
And Venice Beach and Orange County.
Yeah,
and,
all the places I've been that are red, and Sacramento and the north of California. But regardless, so Sadiq Khan presumes to speak for London, but he does not speak for decent, ordinary Londoners who love Trump, who can't wait for Trump to come over, who feel a little bit, not that I speak for anyone but myself, but you feel the enthusiasm I have for ordinary America. Like I literally will cuddle any American at any point. I don't care what they voted. They were in a country that made Trump happen. I mean, like, what a time. This morning I wake up and we're going to deport people that were online celebrating Charlie's death. We just revoked their visas. Come on. This is the fight I want to be part of.
Yes, because people have forgotten that a visa is not a right.
A visa, to be in this country, I have a media visa. I don't have a visa. You have to earn the right to be an American. You have to earn the right to be in this country, and legal migrants to this country earn that right.
Which
through
includes
tenacity.
respect, by the way, for the country that has opened its doors to you.
For the country,
and
to
if you're
work
going to come
hard.
here and disrespect everything.
Get out. Be gone.
Yes.
And if you can't do that for yourself, then great, the American government will now do it for you.
Yes.
Strength is such a powerful way of showing leadership.
And I do have to say, I think it's so important, is all these people whining and bleating about how, they're getting deported for exercising their First Amendment rights. First of all, you don't have any First Amendment rights. You're not an American. Secondly, you're being deported for for lacking all human decency. That's what you're being deported for. Dancing on someone's grave, being vile in this moment. That's nothing to do with freedom of expression.
No one has to explain anything. Because Donald J. Trump is president, elected by great American people, and what he says goes. You may have a chance to change that in 4 years, but actually you won't, because JD will get in. So, best leave.
Maybe.
Yeah. God praise.
Well, and what they've been doing though here is that those who don't want Trump to prevail, you could call them the left, I call them globalists and the global cult. They will slow everything down by slapping lawsuits on him, and they'll try to overrule the executive branch from the bench. And it's been quite effective for them, but it's over time it's falling apart.
Yes, and I do rather love, Trump's mugshot is the best mugshot ever. Like, you can see that man's jaw is set. And those eyes looking down that lens say, I will watch this.
Yeah.
Watch what you're building. I used to say on media when I used to be allowed on it, that they are Frankenstein. I'm their monster because they built me. You know, that's kind of the Trump look on that mugshot.
Well, that's what they did to him.
Yeah, you made me. Now watch this. Look at him go. And I love that Melania's just being so adorable now and so sweet next to Trump. And, you know, it's just...
She doesn't care anymore either.
She just...
she's
the
not hiding.
inauguration in that hat. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, look at her.
Please. I know. How annoying is Melania?
So annoying.
So annoying.
She doesn't know how to dress.
No, I much preferred... What was that dire trout that was hanging onto Biden with the silly hair?
The psycho doc that wasn't really a doc.
The psycho doc, what was she? I much preferred her because she
Jill.
looked like a beat-up old hag. And I felt like I could relate to that.
Well,
Jill,
she was also like a prison warden.
She was a prison, and she was also a carer, wasn't she? Because when he pooped himself in France,
she had to change his diapers.
She had to change his diapers.
And
she's
also
such a good person, though, isn't she?
She's like one of those people at the, you know how at the on the runway at the airport.
Yeah.
You know, they go with it like this with the little paddles,
Yes.
the plane which way to go.
Yeah, she was like
that for Biden. She's trying to tell him which way to go.
But she's one of the better people, so she must be good.
Must be.
She must be
a
a
lot
good
better
person.
than us.
Oh, so much better.
Much nicer.
Dr. Biden.
Doctor. Never done a day of medicine in her life. But doctor, yes, we must remember to call her that. Yes.
Yeah, Melania's great.
Yeah. I want my doctor to do that when I have dementia. I want him to medicate me into performance.
It's wild,
so I can be trotted out.
Isn't it wild how they all covered?
Yeah.
And even, you know, we shouldn't go down this route really because it's regressive, but in a way, right at the, you remember there was still George Clooney and all of that gang still fundraising with him, and then they pretended they didn't know. Like,
yes,
you know, there's no accountability.
But I have something about that is I don't believe in regressive without accountability. I think until you've had the whole truth and people have been held accountable, that you have to go down that road.
Yeah, I think
and
you're
every
right.
single one of those miserable bastards,
it should be tacked to them, shouldn't it? You know what I mean? Tacked to them. And
I am a miserable, worthless liar, and I'll do anything to win.
Yeah, and I was you were part of that. You
of
owned
the deception.
That. Exactly. And I feel that way about people who push the vax, for example. You know, that should be tacked on them.
Oh, no, with the addition of murderer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Genocidal mass murderer, who, by the way, because, you know, it's not even just the people who died from COVID. What about all the people still languishing now in poverty because their economies were destroyed?
Or
the people who were beaten to death at home because they were locked up with domestic violence and there was no escape.
And in a way, you know, this again, back to the time to be alive together with people who were here before and are not with us now, is we have lived to see, we talked of this earlier, not in a vengeance way necessarily, or if you wait long enough by the river, but we have lived long enough to see all of those lies be shown as lies.
Yes.
And that's
why they say you're running out of conspiracies.
Yes.
Right? Because they all keep coming true. But we haven't seen accountability yet.
No. But it comes. It comes, and we see this resurgence in faith, and we see people realizing that there's been this huge hole in people's lives that got filled with all the wrong things and needs to be filled with something that you can believe in. You know, these children, people were taught not to believe in family, not to believe in your flag, don't believe in your country.
Yes.
These are all the things we do need to believe in because they give us reason and purpose and pride and values.
And speaking of which, Keith, can you play that video, please? This is one of my favorites right now. I have a lot of favorites of yours, but this one's top of the list.
I'm scared of what's coming.
Oh, wait, Sadiq, is that you? Sadiq, let me bend down so we can look at each other at eye height. I'll just crouch on down here. Just a couple of things. Great Britain, United Kingdom, is a Christian country, always has been. And that union, that flag, that's our flag of a Christian country. Yours, my little friend, is a completely different colour. I think it's green, it's got like a little semicircle on, star, something like that. And it's sort of often carried by the people who have hate marches through London, the Pro-Pally Brigade, with their little black and white tea towels on. So anyway, darlings, just remember, Union flag belongs to British people, Christian country. And for too long we have rather tiptoed around the cultures that choose to join us, and not enough time standing up for the culture others, like you, chose to join. That's it, darling. Be careful you don't bang your head on the edge of that table when you leave, okay?
So Such an important video. So well done. So well done to do that humorously. But I know that flag is the Pakistani flag. That's what you're talking about.
Yes, and so if you try to do that without using the tool of humour, then it would
You'd
the
already
UK.
be in jail.
And, well, arrested twice, placed under caution, detained, deported from Australia, banned from South Africa, banned from schools in Wales. Many things, yeah.
Amazing.
But without the tool of humour in there, then
Yes.
that would fall into hate speech in the UK, and that would be arrestable. So if I just went, Sadiq Khan, your flag is Pakistani, blah, 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 and just hit
Yeah,
it hard,
yeah.
like I would,
Like I
in
would
my
do.
soul. Yeah, and in my soul right now, you know, I could hit it now hard.
Yes.
Like you. But if you do that, it becomes shareable. So I can push my message much further. Young people can see the funny somewhere in it, funny, and it'll share. And also I can get away with it because there's humour in AI and the police can't work out what that would be.
But the point,
The point is precise,
which is what?
which is we've spent too long tiptoeing around cultures that choose to join us. Not enough time standing up for the culture others chose to join. And our culture is a Christian culture, and the union is our Christian flag.
So, Katie, when people look at the UK from the outside, I mean, what on earth is going on?
Oh, and just on a daily thing, but so at a very small level. Today, walking here in Main Street,
Yeah.
just I'm overwhelmed by how lovely it is, how clean it is, how people pick up things, how there are men and ladies doing jobs. The park people are there in their trucks. There's a litter guy helping pick up that. A lady I saw across the road picked up some litter and put it in a bin,
Yes.
trash can. We don't have, that is a level of respect for yourself, respect for your town, respect for your neighbour. And you cannot get that back when it's gone, and it's gone in the UK.
Why?
It's filthy where we are.
Why?
Because people don't have pride in the country. They don't belong to it.
They
never
own
had
it.
to earn the right to be there, which I still feel like you do here. I love coming into America through the airport. I love going through immigration. I love the immigration officers so dearly. And I have
So
to
stern. Usually when they try to
honestly,
be stern.
And when I'm coming in, I shouldn't really tell this story because it's not super appropriate, but hello, snooty dog, is that I stand there, and you shouldn't, but I pick my immigration officer. So I don't want the one that looks like she might be Californian, and I definitely don't look like the one that might have a nut allergy or be like sympathetic to people with causes. I want the guy that looks mean and either Texan or maybe Free State of Florida, or maybe like he eats people for dinner, and I go to him because I want someone fierce to make me feel like you got to earn your right to come here. And then they're always charming to me, and sometimes they know me. So that's really fun. But mostly, I want that feeling of fear. Yeah, and I love that people in that line feel fear.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a thing.
Oh, it's important.
It's a
I
thing.
want them to shout at people. I like it when they shout at people in the line. I want them to. I want people to feel respect the minute they want to come into your country. Go hard on immigration. Be that officer. Have bigger badges. Polish them more. Have your gun on display. I love it.
Practice being mean.
Oh God, yeah. Just rifle through the document and look really disapprovingly at it, like that.
And then type something.
Type something. It doesn't matter if you're just writing to your mum. Just type something that makes it look like maybe you won't get in today.
Then ask a question.
Yeah, difficult one.
Yeah. How long are you going to be here?
What are the ingredients in paella? I don't know. Throw them. Yeah, fun. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love Americans. I couldn't be more proud. I couldn't be more grateful.
But the question is, what happened to your country?
Two things. One, very powerful forces who understood what would be necessary to overthrow a country were operating 20 or 30 years ago, certainly 20, certainly when I started shouting about this. putting the scaffolding in place to overthrow a nation. And way before it hits road level, tarmac level, asphalt level, that people start to see things, way before that, way beneath that, in the bedrock of the thing, in the scaffold of the thing, the takeover is in place. And then you have Muslim mayors in every city. In the most northerly islands that only 3 people live on, outside Scotland, in the remote Hebrides, there is a mosque built. In the furthest south, there's a mosque. There's not a Muslim in sight. All of the structural and the infrastructure is built around an Islamic takeover. The London mayor, Pakistani Muslim. The head of the justice system, Pakistani Muslim. Pakistani Muslim throwing in. Yeah, a lady called Shababanana Mahmood. I mean, honestly, nothing says home to me, nothing says Britain to me quite like the name Shababanana Mahmood. Like, I feel like, oh, isn't that patriotic, Mahmood?
Free Palestine.
Come on, bring it.
She's,
so all of
that's
that,
her whole thing.
the structural thing. And it's why when I spent 5 years going across this place, I would warn, do not become like us. Like, I would scream it almost to Americans, I know.
But
like,
there are pockets already
oh,
here.
Minnesota, please. Not Minnesota
Dearborn,
Red.
Michigan.
Dearborn, Michigan.
Plano, Texas.
Ilhan Omar. Yeah. You go into that massive mosque there, you see it precisely.
She changed the flag to be
You know
like
it.
the Somali flag.
And then when they started building mosques on the southern border in Texas so that they could grab decent, actually. I've got a lot of time for Mexican people because a lot of them are more Christian conservative than any of the rest of us. They're hardworking. They believe in the church. They
wonderful
believe
people.
in family. And that's why they had mosques set up on the southern border in Texas to try and convert them before they even set
didn't
foot in
work,
America.
though.
No, because
No.
Mexicans aren't having that.
No, they're not having that.
I went to a group
They
in
do
Mexico.
chop people's heads off, execute each other,
That-
bury them in mass
more
graves,
Venezuela, but
burn them
no.
alive.
Yeah, but there are
lots of that happening
on
every
the border.
day.
Illegals for
Yeah.
Trump. I went to their group. It was charming.
Oh,
But
illegals
regardless,
for Trump.
yeah,
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and they
Did
were-
you take pictures?
yes, I have pictures.
I need that picture. I do. It's going to go on the wall.
But you know, there are pockets of it. But because of the resurgence that is this week more than any other,
With
the
Charlie's
sense
assassination.
and the need for church to fill the void, and the opportunity for church to give people who have been violated by the left, to give them some redemption, to give them something to come home to. People
them
have
hope.
to come home to the church. And in many ways, you know, with the stand-up in these theatres, what people leave, they say, I came on my own. A lot of people come on their own because they cannot stand their own family and friends because they've been disavowed by their own family and friends.
Yes,
They
there's a
come
lot
on
of
their
people
own
like
and
that.
I left with family. And that's part of what we're doing. We're bringing people together, don't have to agree, and they leave feeling better. That's what the church can bring to people. And it's why I always have hope, because I have faith, because people can be redeemed. You know, someone like me, people say if I set foot in a church, I'll go on fire, because I'm not the best of
I
souls.
always say I'll get struck by lightning.
There we go. But the church still has place for that.
Of course.
And the church has place for people who believe the opposite.
I mean, come on, that's the story of Jesus Christ on the cross.
Right.
And also the man who was next to him, the thief.
Exactly.
Who repented in the last moment. It's only the wicked who spit
don't
in the
have
face of God.
Exactly. And as Trump
Spit in
says,
the eye of God.
if you spit, we hit. So that's all come together nicely as well. But I believe this is a time of great resurgence.
Well, it is, and you know, I have to say, more than anything, you really wonder when you look at Charlie Kirk's assassination, because Charlie said in an interview that's been played all over the world now, that when someone asked him how he wanted to be remembered, he said, my courage in my faith, by my faith, my courage in my faith.
Exactly.
And that's what's rising. And it's been rising even before Charlie's murder. But, and I hate to say it because on one hand it seems a cliche, but cliches are there because they're so true, right? It's a turning point because that was his organization.
Right.
Does this not feel like a turning point?
It does. But I mean, I'm not a 180. Like, we don't want a 180 because
No.
America is headed in the right direction.
No.
It is a turning point for people to turn back and away from the way they were headed, to turn towards what is hopeful, to turn towards what is positive, to turn towards belonging to a family where you're welcome to disagree, where like you could sit at a table and think opposite to each other, but we want you to be as happy and as free as you can be. And that is such a great place to belong to.
Like, I'm not going to deny you food and shelter and freedom because you don't agree with me.
Exactly.
Right? But these
very
people
lovely
want
thing.
everyone who's not like them to die.
And when anyone questions like, oh, what about your country? I still can look around. I came straight from the United Kingdom rally, literally look out across 3 million British people.
I'm sorry, I think you got your numbers wrong. It was just two.
Two turned up, but 25 were arrested, and they were all very bad people.
2 plus 3 million.
3 million. 3 million people that were there. Great people
Because, of
still
course,
exist.
the media can't admit it, right?
Great people still exist in Great Britain. I have faith in Great Britain.
Well, I think that's true. And you know what really gave me hope recently was watching those fabulous people with cans of red spray paint running all over the UK. And
spraying roundabouts with the
St. George's Cross. Can you explain the St. George's Cross?
So, well, if you want to know what country we live in, a Christian country born of the cross, people came to the Unite the Kingdom rally with a St. George's flag and a cross in another hand. They climbed up the lions on Trafalgar Square and stood on the head of the lions, which represent our country, with the cross and the St. George's flag. I mean, set me off any day of the week. And these are young men as well that are coming to fight. So it's about Onwards Christian Soldiers. You know that whole song, Onwards Christian Soldiers. I feel it's so important right now because that's exactly how I feel.
You want to sing
I feel like, no, because my singing is terrible, but someone else will do a lovely job of it. But that Onwards Christian Soldiers marching as to war, it appeals to every core of my being. But also, I had the news of Charlie as I was doing Alive, Katie's Arms, people. And my first thing was, that we will march forwards towards those who seek to silence us. And I so wish...
Armed with a cross.
Yeah, I so wish, many of us I'm sure would wish that we had been just in front of Charlie in that tent, because we would happily have been stood there. But certainly, I know that when one of us falls, another one comes straight in to take their place. And I feel that more than ever.
I was sitting right here in this chair. It was brutal. And that was when he had just been shot and they weren't saying yet.
Yeah.
And I knew from the first moment, I just could feel it.
Could know.
You just know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But straight towards.
Straight towards.
We don't stop. We're straight. In the knowing moment, we move forwards. That was exactly how I felt, and I feel it here now.
Well, you just reposted a video from a group in the UK, from Birmingham, right?
Yeah, so lovely. So Birmingham is, honestly, it's if you went to Birmingham, you wouldn't know where you were. Well, you would believe you were in Pakistan. I mean, it is a cesspit of a place. And I say that with respect to decent British nationals who are still trying to live there. But so Birmingham still has...
North of London. I've been to Birmingham.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
Many times.
I've been there and people have asked me, where am I from? And I'm like, I'm from here. This is my, that set me off.
Wow.
But these boys, because of this raise the flag movement in the UK.
Because people are getting arrested for raising the flag.
A lady was arrested the other day for flying the Union flag. No other thing. She did nothing else. People say she must have done something. No, she did not. But the raise the flag movement means that people are getting out and they are raising the flag. And they are tying it to lampposts. They are spraying it on white roundabouts, crazy roundabouts.
Yes, they got the red spray paint and they just do, it's so easy.
And these boys, on the morning of the Unite the Kingdom rally, got up at 3 a.m, went to the cliffs of Dover, which is where the illegals cross. That's the first thing they will see.
They come from Calais in France, where we were
the migrant camp.
They come across.
And the things they would see first
the
is
cliffs
the white
of Dover.
So these boys got themselves organised and did a brilliant job of it. And they raised the flags across the cliffs to mark that this is our Christian country.
It's quite something. Can we play that one?
hit, shoot me down, shoot me down. I won't ever hit the ground, hit the ground. Playing dead I'll never do. Gotta keep an eye on you. Patience is wearing thin, paper thin. Promises broke again, what a sin. But it only feeds my energy, so don't expect no sympathy. Smoke, fire, it's all going up. Don't you know I ain't afraid to shed a little blood? Smoke, fire, flares are going up, flares are going up. Oh, won't wave my white flag, no. This time I won't let go. I'd rather die than give up the fight, give up the fight, give up the fight, give up the fight. Won't wave my white flag, no. Oh, I won't go down slow. I'd rather die than give up the fight, give up the fight, give up the fight, give up the fight.
There's good people there. There's good, decent British people out there who are arm in arm with our American brothers and
Irish.
sisters. Irish, the Northern Irish, Welsh, they're with us.
They're
Scottish
standing up,
people.
Scottish people.
And those are quite young men there. That was something else I took from the United Kingdom rally, stood on that stage with Tommy looking out over on the scaffolding. Young men. And that's an amazing thing.
So I'm glad you mentioned Tommy, and by that
Yes.
you mean Tommy Robinson.
Tommy.
Watched Tommy from afar for a long time, and at first I was like, who is this far right extremist
He's
that
the
they hate so much?
cutest
Those
thing.
you see it, hear those words, it's not true.
Yeah.
So I started to look into him, and I followed him now for a while. Tell us about Tommy, because he made that fabulous film,
Yeah.
and for his sins he went to jail.
Yeah, so way back when, before anyone. I mean, I would say David Icke was earlier, but so Tommy used to run something called the English Defence League. But way back when, he grew up in Luton Town, and he saw as a boy, a child, what was going on in Luton. He saw how his people were being forced out, how these new people didn't like them, how there would be this sort of sense of what happened to what, and then he would see young girls being targeted, and he spoke out way before anyone else, and he was vilified way before anyone even had their eyes open. So for 30 years he has been the most vilified. He has been to prison so many times for whatever things they're locking him up for next. He got put in prison for contempt of court, for standing outside a courthouse showing Pakistani rapists going in to be sentenced. Their names were already known. He just repeated information that was already out there. No journalist has ever been to jail for contempt of court, but of course for Tommy, they changed the rules and they threw him in jail. And he came out, I mean, it was a shock to see the state of him when he came out of prison. He was, because he couldn't eat in jail because the jails are run by Muslims. So he couldn't eat the food because they lace it with glass. So he came out a wreck of a man. And he also came out, he wasn't able to speak because he couldn't, the sound of his own voice was strange to him. He was a wreck. And yet they threw him in jail again for the crime of showing a documentary that he was told he wasn't allowed to show. And so he put it up on big screens in the middle of Trafalgar Square because he's that fearless. And then he called people. He said, when I get out of solitary, September the 13th, we unite the kingdom in a joyful celebration of freedom. And 3 million plus people turned up on the streets for him. One guy. And they cannot stop him. And he is the embodiment of we march forwards. And those men who stood on that cliff on that morning, that's miles away, and they organised, they called, like the organisation of that, and they did it beautifully. It wasn't haphazard, it wasn't rough, it was done beautifully. And on the day of the march, I was next to Stephen Tommy has different names, as we marched forward holding the banner, and it was a crush. Like at one point I thought my ribs would just pop, but he kept looking out for people. A couple of lads came up to just shake his hand, and they had beers in their hand. He was, get away lads with the beers, no beers. Like he was disciplined. And
focused.
The crew he has round with them, he's known those men for 20, 30 years. Like the last time I walked Tommy
again
to jail, they were there as his security. They were there that day. so people can vilify him all they want, but he is the one constant voice that has spoken up for young girls in our country. And to see that day was very moving to see him accorded that level of respect and support. I really loved that for him.
And love.
Yeah, and Charlie was a big part of that day.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Tell people what the movie was about.
So Silenced was a documentary he was told he was not allowed to publish because
I
it was
watched
the
it,
truth.
I loved it.
Right. It was sort of the truth of Tommy, it was the truth of the country, it was the truth of the lies that are being told in our legal system to lock up British people, the lies that are being told against British people. And I think what was so powerful about it was Tommy made it, despite being told it couldn't be heard, it's become the most watched documentary of all time.
And it's just inexplicable that they would try to censor that film. I mean, it's a film about censorship, and they censored it.
And then they told him they would lock him up
And they
if he
did.
showed it. So he showed it. Like, that's the bit.
Yeah.
That's the bit that
after he was already tortured in prison.
Yeah, and he knew that, it wasn't certain he would come out of there.
No. I didn't know if he would.
But what's so powerful and what was so amazing about the aerial shots so not only did I physically feel the crush when that crowd was squeezed in and we didn't really have anywhere to go, but the aerial shots of the streets filled with people. Those are the people that demand Tommy is kept alive. So if the government...
They're the reason he's alive.
They are his eyes. If the government does something to Tommy, those people are letting the government know it's not going to be all right. And that's a very, very powerful thing.
That's the power of the people. That's
the power of the people. And the same in a very small way with my things that shouldn't be allowed, because Katie shouldn't be allowed a theatre. When a theatre will put me on their stage, 1,500 people will sell it out in 24 hours. The power of the people to give back voice to the voiceless has been our story.
Well, I just want you to know that you and Tommy and all of the sacrifices that you made and all those things that you've been through, they mean a lot. They mean a lot. They really do. That light of freedom that you saw shining from the US, it shines in you. And Tommy, it shines in people all over the world. We don't want you to lose the United Kingdom. We don't want you to lose your country, your identity, your soul. We're all of us fighting. They wanted a global fight, right? Because they want global power. And now they've got it. Now they've got a global fight. And they're trying to build this clash of civilizations between Islam and Christianity, because Islamists, jihadis, they don't even identify Islam as a religion. They identify it as a civilization. And they want their civilization they call it the return of the Islamic civilization and the Islamic Ummah. And, I've asked a few of them, what do you mean the return? Like, you never controlled the world. I mean, you did a good job of it in the Ottoman Empire, but you actually, what exactly do you mean by return to that time when you controlled the whole world? Of course, it's a fantasy, right? It's not a real thing, because that war, that fight for, global supremacy is just like every other fight for global supremacy. It's about having power and not about anything noble or godly at all. And so I just, you and I, we could talk forever, and I definitely...
we have this strange similar path in so many things.
And I feel like I want to hold on to you and I don't want to let go.
That's okay, do that. We can do that.
But, so we definitely want to have you back. And we definitely want to, and I wanted to have Tommy here anytime, or, even by remote, or maybe I could go over there. I definitely want to talk to Tommy too.
Yes.
But I just want to, I want to encourage people to, you have a book, right?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, yes, but I'm never, I never bothered about my things, honestly. If people have got time just to maybe watch Batshit Bonkers Britain sometime and know that...
It'll lift you up. You should watch it.
Yeah, know that we're with you. Laugh. Yeah, know that British people are cheering you on. Know that millions of decent British people are walking towards the fight, and know that we got to pick our chin, or in my case, chins, up because you lit the beacon on the hill. You are the burning light. Your flag is still there, and that is real for us. And don't lose hope in us, but because of you, we have faith. So I really want to thank all of your listeners and all of your viewers, because you do give us hope. And I know that a strong America builds a much stronger Great Britain, and many of us are now united, and we will walk hand in hand with Charlie towards the people that seek to do any of our family wrong.
Well, now I'm going to take you out and introduce you to a few cowboys.
Okay, that sounds perfect. I'm going to go and freshen up. I'm going to go and cover myself in lotion in the hope that one of them tries to lasso me.
That can be arranged.
I'm very hopeful indeed. I might even shave my legs.
In fact, we used to have a cow, on a fake one, that my husband was teaching my kids how to lasso.
Oh, that's so great. So
You
manly.
could stand there.
And be the cow.
Yes.
Can we just make that? Can people email you? What's your email address? Like, if someone does want to organise me running for the bull, do email
That's Madrid.
you. No, but running for the rodeo, could they email you and we can make it happen?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll dress as Bodicea or whatever they want.
Let me tell you, we have a little rodeo here called Criders. It's been there since the 1950s.
Well, I'm up for this.
And all summer long, I can take you every Saturday night. You could be the bull.
Excited. Thank you for talking to me. Thanks to your team. And
Thank
thanks
you
to your
for being
listeners
here.
and viewers.
Everybody watch Batshit Bonkers Britain. It will lift you up. It will light your day. And it will put a fire under you. Most importantly, we are not alone. As, I don't know, I'm making a little tradition now for the moment. We dedicate this episode to Charlie Kirk and his beautiful wife, Erica, and to their beautiful children, who we love. We love you, Charlie. And we got a lot of work to do. So like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want. We need you. We can't do this without you. Thank you for watching Going Rogue with Lara Logan.